Yeah, family. Yeah, me don't know what one a while ago still, but like it's a little glitch. It's a little glitch take place, So yeah, man, just type a nine if you're hearing me, If you're hearing me clearly, type a nine. Yeah, so at least me can know what I go on. I wonder if I freeze the thing I freeze up or what still. Alright, enough respect, enough respect. So at least me know say una hear me. Yeah man, sorry about that. Me don't know what go on a while ago still, but me have to just end that one there and start a next one because I mean, know we're going still. But anyways, as I said earlier, yeah, me definitely want to hold a reasoning upon the Jamaican government's non-action as it relates to voting to call for a ceasefire on humanitarian grounds so that they could at least get some much needed food and water and medical supplies into the Gaza Strip, right? So that was what the United Nations resolution, even though it was non-binding, right? Which means that even if everyone agreed to it, pretty much the state of Israel could just say, "Oh, we do not recognize that." You get what me I say, and no one could enforce it. So the reality is that the Jamaican government, being represented by to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, right? Yeah, they have an obligation to vote based on what is in the interests of Jamaica and the Jamaican people. They are not authorized to vote based on special interest groups or lobbies, right? So no lobby, whether it might be the Israeli lobby or the quote unquote Jewish lobby, whatever they want to call them, right? No lobby should actually be directing Jamaica's foreign affairs when it comes down to evil, the Gaza Israel situation, because at the end of the day, you know, we have to take a position based on what is in the interest of the country. And a simple resolution calling for a ceasefire so that, the sick can be evacuated, those who need food and water and medical attention, medical care, they can have access to it. Yeah, I think that was a fair resolution. Unfortunately, as Voltaire said, there's this French philosopher named Voltaire, and he said that if you want to know who the people with the real power are, just notice who you are not allowed to criticize. You understand what I say? So the reality is that Jamaica's explanation was, it don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense to no well-thinking person because the Minister of Foreign Affairs is saying that we missed the vote. You can't miss a vote, Kamina Johnson Smith. You cannot miss a vote. We know, we the Jamaican people, the well-thinking, critical thinkers, we understand that under the JLP administration, right, there has been a position that has been held when it comes down to evil Israel. And this is not the first time that Jamaica has deliberately, not voted or, have some explanation to say, well, oh, this happened behind our back and we weren't aware. I think it was in 2018, if memory serves me right, 2018 or 2019, when President Donald Trump decided that he was gonna recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Because remember, the capital of Israel is Tel Aviv, right? And based on international law and the United Nations resolution, right? 1967, right? Israel must acknowledge the 1967 borders. So any borders or any land that they acquired after 1967, because they fought a 6-day war in 1967, right? And them actually capture more land. Them capture more at the West Bank, right? And them capture more of Palestine, so to speak. So the reality is that there is a United Nations resolution that says that Israel must acknowledge the pre-existing 1967 borders. And based on the United Nations resolution, Jerusalem was supposed to be a international space, which means that neither Israel nor Palestine, can claim the right over that place, because it was always a disputed plot, right? It's a disputed plot of land, right? Them say it's the holiest place in Judaism, it's the holiest place in Christianity, it's the third holiest place in Islam, because so the Al-Aqsa Mosque is there. In Judaism, them say the Dome of the Rock is there, and in Christianity, them say, boy, yeah, man, Mary and Jesus buried up there, son, them something there. So you realize that it is a highly contested space, because it is very important to the three major religions, which is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. As a result of that, what the international community did through the United Nations is to say, well, Jerusalem should be like a neutral spot. Neither Israel nor Palestine should claim it for themselves, because it's hotly contested. So in 2018, 2019, President Trump now forward out and say he might recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and the Jewish people. Now, that was a big issue, because Trump really went against international law and also against United Nations resolution. But say again now, when it come on to the United Nations, is really America the big boss, not that. You understand me? I say, yes, you have other quote unquote global powers. You have China, you have Russia. Britain is not so much of a superpower no more like that, right? But if you look at say France, so Britain, France, Germany, China, Russia, the US, you have Japan too. These are like the big wigs when it comes down to the United Nations Security Council, right? So the reality is that now Trump he recognized Jerusalem as the capital, which went against international law. He also recognized the Golan Heights, the part that Israel captured during the 6-day war. They captured the Golan Heights from Syria. So under international law, the Golan Heights belong to Syria. You understand me? I say? So therefore, it is Syrian territory. But Israel did capture it and them occupy it, and Trump just recognized it as part of Israel. So now officially, that part of the Golan Heights, has been quote unquote annexed. So it's a part of Israel. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to international, geopolitics, you know, yeah, you definitely know say when it come on to America, yeah, it's pretty much like anything with them say goes. And especially when it comes down to Israel, you see the wickedest combination when it come on to international politics, especially with the UN. Anywhere you have Israel and America on the same side, everybody else have to fall in line. That's just the reality on the ground, because these people have so much power. They have powerful lobbies. And that's the reason why any direction where America go and Israel go, you realize that Britain follow suit, France follow suit, Germany follow suit. The only ones them who will take a neutral stance more time would be like Russia and China. Because when it come on to Japan, Japan normally work with everything where America say. You understand what I say? So the reality is that the Jamaican government, through the Foreign Affairs Ministry, right, when Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, that created an international firestorm, and there was an emergency meeting in the United Nations General Assembly. And there was a vote that says the Palestinians have a right to statehood and self-determination, right? A lot of countries voted to say yes, the Palestinian people have a right to self-determination and statehood. You know what Jamaica did through Andrew Holness and Kamina Johnson Smith? Jamaica abstained. So in reality, Jamaica could not even vote based on the recognition that the United Nations give. I remember that the United Nations pretty much represent the world when it comes down to global affairs. So the United Nations is saying that, what's this now? We should recognize the Palestinians' right to a state. That is all the resolution was saying, you know. And Jamaica abstained from that vote. Fast forward to 2023. This vote that Jamaica should have participated in was all about having a ceasefire so that humanitarian aid can go into the Gaza. And you are telling me that Jamaica could not have even voted on that? So it is very clear that Jamaica's foreign affairs policy, when it comes on to the Middle East, especially the Israel-Palestine thing, it is not the Jamaican government or the Jamaican people who are pulling the strings. It is special interests. It is special interest people, and we realize that Andrew Holness them compromise in a real life. Not because him go to Israel and meet with Netanyahu, no. Andrew Holness is the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and countries have bilateral agreements. Countries, you know, presidents and prime ministers visit each other country, and they try to sign bilateral agreements, and they try to sign MOUs, quote unquote memorandum of understanding. Them will sign trade deals. You know, them will try to see how best them can bring in, you know, Israeli investors, and how them can actually get some assistance from Israel in the field of agriculture. Because remember, say Israel is very advanced, you know. Technologically, Israel is very advanced. As a matter of fact, in 2006 or 7, they were the ones who created the featherless chicken, where you could raise the chicken and the chicken have no feather at all and good to go. You get what me I say? So they are always advanced when it comes on to, you know, biotechnology, when it comes on to agriculture, you know, even like desalinization. And let me expound on desalinization. A lot of the countries in the Middle East right now, they are exploring the desalinization project. That is, them take the seawater, right, and do the desalinization process and turn it into drinking water. Now, Israel is one of the first countries that really created that technology. So you realize that a lot of other Middle East countries, all this normalization deal is taking place. It also involves not only them recognizing the state of Israel, but also them and Israel, you know, partaking in, you know, bilateral agreements. So, you know, yeah, man, Israeli technology, you know, Israeli, you know, businesses and Israeli investments and all of that. So we know for a fact that Jamaica has reached out to Israel to assist with agriculture, right? To assist with, you know, technology. Because this whole Jamaica eye thing, you know, you see the Jamaica eye thing? Yes, it is Israeli technology that is being used with the Jamaica eye. When it comes down to spying equipment and them something there, yeah man, it's really Israel, you know, them man they really have it locked. So that's why a couple of years ago, up to last year as well, and earlier this year, there was the NSO scandal where them can, you know, them did a spy on phone and a hack phone and even the iPhone them not safe, and them could have hack government members' phone and spy on them, and no one knew. No one knew, you know, until certain people blow the whistle. So long story short, it just goes to show that these people have the technology. You understand what I say? They have the technology. Jamaica needs the technology, especially in the field of national security and surveillance and agriculture. You understand what I say? Because Israel does have that technology. I have no problem if the Jamaican government sees fit to engage in bilateral agreements with any country, to the benefit of the Jamaican people. However, I don't think that our foreign policy, when it comes down to the Middle East and Palestine in particular, should be influenced by external forces. And I would definitely like to hear the Prime Minister or Kamina Johnson Smith come and tell the people why they could not vote in the United Nations General Assembly for humanitarian aid to reach the Gaza people a simple vote as that. Jamaica could not cast a ballot and say, yes, we agree that there should be a pause, to allow the evacuation of the sick and the young and whoever is vulnerable. And for people who need food and water, yes, man, we think it's the right thing to do, as it relates to our humanitarian obligation. And Jamaica, Kamina Johnson Smith said us, she don't know what go on. That's her explanation. She don't know what really go on, but the voting passed them. The voting can't pass nobody at all. The voting cannot pass anybody. We just know that Jamaica has been compromised to a point. When it comes on to Palestine and Israel, Jamaica cannot hold a position, even neutrality, are based on the general consensus. You understand what I say? Because the general consensus, 143 countries vote to say, yeah, man, allow, the food and the water and the humanitarian, services to go in. And we could not vote on that ground. When Trump had recognized Jerusalem, right? And they presented, they presented a resolution to say, well, the Palestinians have a right to statehood. I remember Trump was threatening everybody. Nikki Haley at the time, she was the U.S. ambassador. She was the U.S. ambassador to the UN. I remember, when it comes down to the UN, the most powerful person in the UN is really the U.S. ambassador in a real life, right? And it was Nikki Haley at the time. As a matter of fact, I think she's running for president now, right? And she was in the UN, and Nikki Haley said, me I take notes of anybody who vote for say that the Palestinian people have a right to a statehood. And she made it clear that they are watching and they are making notes of who are going to vote. You know what Jamaica do? Jamaica abstain. Because you don't know it got the whip they over them back. You have some countries don't care. And it begs the question, right? In the English-speaking Caribbean, if memory serves me right, and I stand corrected, Jamaica is the biggest country in terms of population. We not talk about landmass because we know say Guyana. As a matter of fact, to Guyana in South America, but you don't know it, God. Them are part of the Caribbean. When West Indies are play, yeah, we actually have Guyanese players that play for West Indies, but in actuality, Guyana is in South America. Guyana border with Brazil, Guyana border with Venezuela. Yeah, so we know say Guyana in a South America. But anyways, how that go, it's neither here nor there. But it just goes to show that Jamaica, with its population of 3 million people, is the largest in English-speaking Caribbean country. And it begs the question, why is it that smaller countries like Barbados population is about probably say 300,000 people, 350,000 people in Barbados. And they can hold a position, right, that goes with international norms. Mia Motley is going to hold a position that goes with international norms and the laws, right? The rule of law. We're not talking about no bad man thing and no bully thing. Mia Motley, I say, here go on now. All right? I am going to vote for a ceasefire to allow humanitarian aid to come into the Gaza. Everybody else in the Caribbean is voting for that. And Jamaica, I gotta say, the vote missed them or they met the vote past them, and that's all they can say as an explanation to the Jamaican people. That can't look good because what they are doing, what the JLP administration, and when it comes down to Jamaica, me not deal with politics, me deal with Jamaica because what's this, JLP are gonna come and go, PNP are come and go, Jamaica is gonna be here. My concern is this now. Whenever a country takes a certain position, it can create enemies, it can isolate itself from other countries, it can damage the good relationship with other countries that Jamaica have. Case in point, the Petro-Caribe deal. Remember when Hugo Chavez came to power, right? And Hugo Chavez said, here go on Jamaica. We will give you the oil, right? No money down, no interest. And you pay us back in 10 years. Jamaica was making billions of dollars with the Petro-Caribe deal. That was beneficial to Jamaica because at that time, Venezuela had a lot of oil and they were saying, all right, yeah, man, big up Jamaica, Jamaica and Cuba are friends, And, yeah, man, them kind of support the quote unquote Bolivarian Republic. When you hear them call Venezuela a Bolivarian Republic, it comes to Simon Bolivar. Ones and ones who might know the history of South America, they will understand that Simon Bolivar, people might know about Che Guevara, but Simon Bolivar was one of the most significant characters in South and Central America because of his liberation fight against the Spanish and colonialism pretty much. So Simon Bolivar is responsible for a lot of these countries in South and Central America being free from colonialism. You understand me? I say him fight them and defeat them and run them out. Long story short, Venezuela call themselves the Bolivarian Republic. Because you don't know it go. They are against colonialism, fascism, neo-imperialism, neoliberalism, etc., etc. Long story short, the Jamaican government under the PNP signed the Petro-Caribe agreement that was beneficial for the country. Watch this now. When Trump came into power, what Trump did was to say, here we go now. I got put a ban on Venezuela oil. Because remember, the US has been trying for years to try to overthrow the Venezuelan government. Them actually tried with they tried it with they tried it with they tried it with the previous president, man, right? And him tricked them, man. So long story short, it never worked out. But as a result of that now, the United States actually created another assembly in Venezuela to challenge Hugo Chavez and now Nicolas Maduro. So what they did was created a rival assembly. And them have one man named Juan Guaido. So Juan Guaido now, him is a puppet, right? Him is an American puppet. And a lot of Venezuela's foreign policy is directed from Miami because in Florida, they have a very strong Venezuelan population. And them well want to get rid of them man there. Whether Hugo Chavez and the next virgin there, right? Nicolas Maduro. Them want to get rid of them because Venezuela rich with oil. So once them can control Venezuela, they know them can control the oil. So that was all about the plan to control Venezuela oil. But Nicolas Maduro and his predecessor, Hugo Chavez, decided to here go now. Now come take over our oil reserve and control it and go on like you want dictate to it. So long story short, the United States back a man named Juan Guaido and them have a rival assembly. And the man declare himself president and leader. And him say, Nicolas Maduro is no longer president. As a matter of fact, the United States under Trump recognized Guaido as president of Venezuela. The European Union recognized, under pressure from the US, the European Union also recognized Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela. Britain did the same thing to a point where Britain froze like $2 billion in gold that Venezuela had, in England. As a matter of fact, Venezuela, anyone can research this, Venezuela is now in court with Britain, trying to get the $2 billion in gold, where Britain are hold on pan. Because where the matter is that we recognize Juan Guaido, so therefore all monies will go to Juan Guaido. But the reality is that Guaido was a puppet. He was never elected by the people. He was not popular in Venezuela. He was just someone then put to the forefront and so say a coup would have, occurred. But the Venezuelan people them hold steadfast. Nicolas Maduro is there, right? The United States make sure it's a here go on now. Then put an embargo on Venezuela oil. Nobody in the Caribbean should buy in a Venezuela oil. Long story short, that embargo on the Venezuelan oil affected Jamaica. So what's this now? Instead of Andrew Holness them go meet with the Venezuelans them and try to negotiate, what Andrew Holness did was to just take over the, I think it's 49%. Because I think under the Petro-Caribe deal, the Jamaican government controls 51% stake and the Venezuelan government have a 49% stake. Whatever the deal is, it was a good deal for Jamaica. Jamaica was making billions, the man them give you the oil, as much oil as you want, and a man say here go on, no interest, and a man say here go on now, pay me in a 5 or 10 years. That was the agreement. You understand me I say? Instead, Andrew Holness then try and negotiate with them and try to say, here go on America, we are asking for a waiver. A waiver simply means that even though America has dropped embargo on Venezuelan oil, them can say, all right, Jamaica, we think it's in your best interest to go and buy the Venezuela oil, so we'll give you a waiver. Them say, no, we not give Jamaica or nobody no waiver. And them smart with it too. The reason why them say, them not give Jamaica and nobody in the Caribbean no waiver because they wanted all these countries to turn to the American market to buy American oil. And let's not forget that, or let's not forget who was the Secretary of State when Trump came to power. So can someone in the chat, me know say Lali Bella will know me I talk about, but can someone in the chat just type and tell me who was President Trump's first Secretary of State when he came into power? Please and thanks. Who was the Secretary of State, right? The first Secretary of State before Mike Pompeo. Because Mike Pompeo did war arc. Before Mike Pompeo. No, man, not Bolton, man. All right, Lalibela, you know what going on. Rex Tillerson. Remember, Sir John Bolton was just the United States ambassador, man, to the UN first, You understand me? I say him a war arc too. But it was Rex Tillerson. Rex Tillerson was the first Secretary of State under Trump. And what's this, Rex Tillerson, where he come from? Texas. Who was Rex Tillerson? The CEO of Exxon Mobil, right? So Rex Tillerson resigned as the CEO of Exxon Mobil and became Secretary of State. And members say Exxon Mobil deal with oil. So Rex Tillerson an oil man. So the plan was sanction Venezuela oil. Nobody can buy Venezuela's oil. So therefore, everyone has to turn to America to buy the oil from America at an even more way expensive price than what Jamaica was getting from Venezuela. So based on the fact that Andrew Holness, right, he was aligned with Donald Trump, he held that position and said, well, all right, we have to take over back the 49% that Venezuela have. Now, right now, as I speak, the Jamaican government and Venezuela is in an international court of arbitration to settle that. And that occurred probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago. You understand me I say? And they are still in court trying to settle it through arbitration. Because what the Jamaican government did was actually illegal based on international law. So Venezuela took them to court and now them are trying to come to some agreement over it. Long story short, again, Jamaica's foreign policy being controlled and dictated by external forces is going against the interests of Jamaica and the people. And we have seen this on numerous occasions. You understand me? I say when it comes down to the JLP administration. in a real life because they have been in power for 7 years. So they have taken some serious positions which are counterproductive to Jamaica and the Jamaican people. Yeah, man, Lalibela, man. Lalibela. Yes, man. Rex Tillerson. Remember, sir, Rex Tillerson went on like a global or a Caribbean tour, But it was more like a sales pitch because them a tell Andrew Holness, say, here we go on now. Yeah, man, Venezuela oil will no longer be on the market. So you have to go buy oil from we. But where Jamaica buy oil from? ExxonMobil. So it goes to show, say, the man them a use politics, right? Them a use politics to protect their national interests. You understand what I say? So at that, Rex Tillerson did go to Jamaica, him go all over the Caribbean, and I do a sales pitch. So when them cut off Venezuela oil, all these countries had no other choice but to buy American oil. So who win this? So America. Who lose? Jamaica. Because Jamaica was getting billions of dollars in oil, 0%, right? And 5, 10 years to pay. But because we have to fall in line, when we could have held our own, people will say, ones and ones will argue and say, well, but Jamaica is a smaller country, and yeah, man, we have to do everything the world boss say. Well, Barbados is also, Jamaica like about probably 9 times the population of Barbados, more than 9 times. So why is it a small country like Barbados, under the leadership of a Mia Motley, can, hold certain position, in keeping with international law and international norms? And why is it that Jamaica cannot hold a position when it comes down to international law and international norms, even when it's in our best interest? Why is it that we can't hold that position? And it just begs the question, what happened yesterday why Kamina Johnson Smith them couldn't vote? At least vote to allow humanitarian aid in the place. So now, all these countries in the Middle East, them man they take note, They make sure take note, right, of who abstain and who did vote. So now, what Jamaica have done yesterday is to create enmity between themselves and even Palestine. Is to create enmity between themselves and even places like Jordan, places like Syria, places like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon. When it comes on to Iran, all them countries now are pre-Jamaica. Say, but hold on now, is Jamaica a puppet of the US and Israel? Because the fact so you can't even vote for say allowing humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, right? It says a lot. Lali Bella said, I think Jamaica assumed incorrectly that Venezuela would have been sanctioned and embraced long enough to never being about to go after Jamaica. Yes, I think they miscalculated because no, we know Lali Bella. No, we know. As a result of the whole Russia-Ukraine war, right? The West dropped sanctions for Russia. And when we talk about the West, it goes into orientalism, which we can talk about a little later. But when you hear the news reporter, you said the West versus Iran or the West versus Russia, yeah, man, that's an orientalist connotation. So long story short, when Russia invaded Ukraine last year, February, right? The West, which is the US and, Britain and Europe and everybody, decided that they're going to sanction Russian oil. So here we go on now. Them cut off the sale of Russian oil to all those countries in the West. As a result of that, they wanted Saudi Arabia and, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, all these oil producing countries who are part of OPEC. They wanted them to increase their output to at least, accommodate the supply and demand. Because remember, Russia is like, I think, the third largest, Russia is the third largest exporter of oil, you know. When it come on to oil, Saudi Arabia, the United States, and Russia. Those are the three top. How America in it, that baffle me too. Because America don't really have that much oil, you know. But what them do, yeah man, they make it work. All of the oil, right? Yeah man, them take it from Africa. Nigeria have oil, and Nigeria have to ship them oil to American refineries for the American refineries to refine and process the oil and break it down and send it back to Nigeria. And Nigeria have to pay for that. So that is how the world order is when it comes on to oil. Big up yourself, Sister Lynette Thompson. Give thanks for checking in. Kirk Shirley, yeah, man, enough respect. Yeah, man, Kirk Shirley, America might have lots of oil in it, but remember, say, a lot of the oil, yeah, it's more like them buy it, you know. Them buy the oil. You get me? I say, them have oil, you know. But what them do, them try to secure their reserve and try to utilize whatever oil they around the world. Because remember, say, America used to buy Venezuelan oil. Ones and ones in America, they know a gas station named Citgo. Citgo. Citgo is actually a Venezuelan entity in America. You get me I say? So even when they dropped the sanctions on Venezuela, them confiscated all of Citgo assets, all of the money, and I say a year ago now, we're gonna give it to one Guaido. Long story short, after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it affected the global oil markets because of the sanctions on Russia. So because of the sanctions on Russia, you know, the cost of fuel skyrocket big time last year, right? Because of supply and demand. Now, the Biden administration has eased the restrictions on Venezuela. So right now, anybody can go buy Venezuela oil and guess what go on. Andrew Holness them cannot go to Venezuela and buy no oil. Because the Venezuela people are say, here go on, man. Yeah, man, uno sell way out, you know. So when you're dealings with uno. So it just goes to show that the actions of Andrew Holness during that time, when they put the embargo on Venezuela's oil, was counterproductive to the interests of Jamaica. And right now, when Venezuela oil free up, where everybody can get cheap Venezuela oil, Jamaica have to still buy expensive oil from America. You understand what I say? So that was a big blunder by Andrew Holness because I understand that sometimes you might have to hold a position and protect your country, right? And you don't want American sanctions, me get that. But at least you could have dealt with the matter more amicably. So right now, Venezuela oil free up, everybody can buy at cheap, and Jamaica is not the beneficiary of that. As a matter of fact, notice how everybody quiet. Petrojam, $11 billion, them say what? Them say $11 billion missing, or $11 billion was is unaccounted for, or the Jamaican government. Listen what them doing, you know. The man then go buy oil. The man then buy oil way in advance, and the price got skyrocket upon them, and the government, our taxpayers, lost $11 billion. That came in the news, swept under the carpet. But it just goes to show where you see when government is compromised, where they allow other special interest groups from other countries to lobby them to make certain decisions that in the long run is going to affect the country. This is what happened. And the same thing is going on with Israel. The same thing is going on with Israel right now, where Jamaica is alienating itself on the international geopolitical stage. Jamaica is isolating itself from all those countries in the Middle East. You understand me I say? Because the perception is that Jamaica is like a lapdog, or Jamaica is like a satellite state or a puppet when it comes down to the US and Israeli interests. And in no way, shape, or form should the Andrew Holness administration put themselves in this position where Jamaica is looked at in that manner. Because Jamaica was always a non-aligned country, right? A neutral country, like how you have Switzerland neutral, and you have Qatar where them neutral and stuff like that. Well, Qatar not really neutral still. They want to go at neutral now, but Switzerland, let's say Switzerland. You see Switzerland, yeah, neutral. Norway, neutral. You understand me? I say? Even Barbados, them, and those smaller countries, neutral. Most of the African countries forward out, and them actually vote for say, yo, let's show the aid in Gaza. So when we see Jamaica is gonna take that position in the interest of the US and Israel, it just look bad. Saudi Arabia is taking notes. Them not like that. Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, the UAE, Qatar, even down Yemen, you know. Them man now looking at us about hold on. How all the while when it comes down to Israel and the Palestinian cause, Jamaica can't seem to hold a position in keeping with international law and international norms. I would like for the Jamaican government to come and tell the people, why is it that when it comes down to Israel and voting, we cannot uphold and maintain international law and norms? But Kirk Shirley, you're saying the PNP can buy from Venezuela, but the PNP is not in government now. You understand what I say? They are not in government now. So therefore, we're talking about who have access to taxpayers' money, who are run the country. You understand what I say? The PNP has been out of it for what? Probably 7 years now and counting. So them not have nothing to do with this. You understand what I say? So right now, the Jamaican government and Venezuela is at a court of arbitration over the whole Petro-Caribe deal because of the way it was handled. It was poorly handled. And it was under international pressure from the US. Because Rex Tillerson, they want ExxonMobil to make more money. Because in this still make the money from ExxonMobil. Even as Secretary of State. Right now, he's on the board of ExxonMobil. So when Jamaica start buying American oil to ExxonMobil, Rex Tillerson smile all the way to the bank. You understand me? I say, while the Jamaican people are spend more money to the point where they lost $11 billion. And no one said much about that $11 billion, though. You understand me? I say, everybody kind of quiet about that. Enough respect to each and everyone that's here. Please remember, if you like the content, hit the like button. You know, please subscribe as well. The link is pinned. Yeah, man, you can join the chat. And if you have any questions, yeah, man, you can feel free to share your opinion. You know, any questions as well, you can drop it in the chat and we'll respond time and space permit. People need to tag Andrew Holness, Kevin Barker. Let me tell you something, brother. You see, when it comes down to politics and especially when it comes down to international politics, I think Andrew Holness is a neophyte. He knows nothing about international politics. I think Kamina Johnson Smith is also a neophyte. I think the most qualified person right now would have been Lisa Anna, based on her experience. You get what I say? Yeah, man, in a real life. So these are people who are actually doing the bidding. Andrew Holness, Kamina Johnson Smith, they are doing the bidding of special interest groups. You get what I say? And yes, we do understand, sir. We do understand, sir, in a Jamaica, you know, right? We understand, sir, in a Jamaica, right? You do have, you know, Jewish lobbies as well. We know that, you know. We know, so you have the whole heap of Jews them in a Jamaica too, because remember, say the Sephardic Jews they came in the 15th century. When Columbus them did come to Jamaica, yeah man, the Portuguese them come over here to man. Sound like say boy Jews knew to over Jamaica. No, a lot of Sephardic came to Jamaica, and Jamaica has a rich heritage of Jews in Jamaica. Whole heap of the people them where you see all about. The movers and shakers, you know, the PSOJ, right? All these business people. Most of them are Jewish. A lot of them are. Lordy Bella, bless up yourself, family. Where you going with?
Yeah, man, salute, brother, salute. Me, I listen to the reason. I love it, you know. Yeah, man, a real talk. But you see, back when Anjo had Tillerson in Jamaica, and he announced that he was going to move away from Venezuela. There wasn't much written in the press objecting to it, and the press that was present, they didn't ask any questions about it. See? And that is so unfortunate. And even this concern right now, as it relates to them and their snafu, to be polite, there won't be much concerns or issues in Jamaica relative to it.
Right.
I think it's mostly us outside of Jamaica who are more concerned about it because we're not to say that Jamaican people in Jamaica aren't concerned about the reputation of the country, but I think oftentimes while we're in Jamaica, when a really, when a concern myself with how the world views us, other than
Right.
self-aggrandized assumptions.
Right.
And clearly, Kamina Johnson or this current administration is bending to the will of the hegemon, America.
Right.
They are afraid to offend America. And you mentioned Saudi Arabia. It's kind of baffling to me because Jamaica had a burgeoning rapport, relationship with Saudi Arabia as it relates to tourism and so forth. And, you know, that sovereign fund that Saudi Arabia has, it's
Right.
massive.
Right. And not to cut you, remember it was earlier this year, right? That
Yeah,
the Saudis were in Jamaica, right?
yeah.
It was earlier this year or last year when
Um,
Jamaica was exploring options of investments from the Saudis, where they brought the Saudis, they brought over some Saudis in Jamaica, and they had like a conference, right? And they actually signed some MOUs. So they wanted to try to see if the Saudis would be willing to invest in any aspect of Jamaica. So Jamaica was actually wooing Saudi investors into the country. And nothing is wrong with that because that would be beneficial because, as I said, the Saudi investment or the public investment fund or whatever is trillions of dollars.
yeah,
And
man.
they
It's,
are
yeah,
and they have the money to spend and invest and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I am
man.
saying the fact
Yeah.
that Jamaica, right, wanted to encourage Saudi investors and now in Palestine, as it relates to the Palestinian issue in Gaza, for Jamaica to abstain. Saudi Arabia has seen the fact that Jamaica is compromised when it comes down to the interests of Israel. So that will also affect any investments from the Saudis. The Saudis might say, well, we don't like Jamaica's position because when it comes down to Palestine, the Saudis hold the position that the Palestinians have a right to self-determination. The
The,
United Nations says that. So why
the only
is
ca
Jamaica going against it?
the only caveat is that I'm not too sure if because here's what the Saudis know. If America doesn't sign off on anything pertaining to Israel in the UN, it probably won't go through, right? I'm not too sure if they're really paying attention to what Jamaica would have done here as an individual country.
Right,
Um, I I think Bin Salman's issue, Saudi Crown Prince, for those who don't know, his bigger issue is with Netanyahu, whom he was working with to normalize ties.
right, right, right,
And
right.
the problem for him is that he truly was going to forsake Palestine based on the reportings coming from the Middle East.
Yeah,
He,
of course, because what is a part of the normalization deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel, right, is that Israeli technology would have been given to Saudi Arabia. What's this
and
too, a part of the deal as well would have allowed the Americans to give the Saudi Arabians nuclear technology. A
so the
part of the deal would have means Saudi Arabia would have gotten the F-35s and the F-16s and the latest armaments that America has to offer. So there was a lot of benefit for the Saudis.
so
But
so
the Palestinian question, though, right? It still remained. But guess what happened now? It was in Saudi Arabia's interest more than the Palestinian cause because the Saudis them a look out for them national interest and national security. I remember, the whole boogeyman thing is what? Iran. Iran is the boogeyman. Iran is a threat to Saudi Arabia. So therefore, Saudi Arabia needs to normalize ties with Israel, get the American weapons, the most modern weapons, get the American nuclear technology, and also be given, Israeli technology and Israeli weapons as well. So that was
So
the whole part of the deal.
yeah, man. So Saudi and Israel, seen for all intents and purposes, have had relations, and Saudi has been buying lots and lots of technology from Israel, especially surveillance type stuff that they use
Right.
on their people and that they use to monitor what's going on in Yemen and so forth. What Saudi wanted from Israel is what Israel has always been offering from 1948, access to the corridors in Washington. And to your point, access to weapons that America usually wouldn't have sold to Saudi Arabia. And then Saudi Arabia also want a quote unquote civilian nuclear power plant built in Saudi Arabia. America has always hitched on that. And it's so funny, right? Russia recently signed off on building a nuclear power plant in was it if not Niger, it was I think Burkina Faso, which is peculiar. So because of what Saudi Arabia is doing by way of their, I think they have an Agenda 30 thing, independent of what's going on with the UN. They have a this whole idea of how they're going to diversify Saudi Arabia, right? They know peak oil is a thing. They know that they can't depend on oil, so they're trying to diversify the economy. You know what I mean? They're building lots and lots of infrastructure to appeal to tourism, to
Right.
compete with Dubai and
Right.
so forth. And one of the big issues that the Arabs and other Muslims have with bin Salman is that he's liberalizing Saudi Arabia, where they have all these raves and all kind of events. As a matter of fact, this big boxing heavyweight fight that just finished a few minutes ago, that was in Saudi Arabia.
Right, right, right.
So
And I think yeah, and I think remember said that them also encourage them things, and I think Anthony Joshua did go down there and fight too, you know. So you know it
yeah,
go. Them encourage them things they still. You get what me I say. But
under
one
bin
second, Lali
Salman,
Bella.
under bin Salman.
One
Yeah,
second, that's the skeptic. Big up skeptic, you know. Give thanks, you know. Skeptic is saying, Lali Bella. Imhotep. Jamaica
yeah, me
has
see
never
it.
been non-aligned, sir. Jamaica is a part of the 12 lost tribe of Israel. You clearly don't know about the British Jamaica-Israel ties. All right, skeptic. The link there, in brother. So at least we know it's not an alien reason this. The reason I can stay on the earth. And yeah, man, we can reason about it because I don't think you're aware of the history of Jamaica. You understand me? I say skeptic. For you to say that Jamaica has never been non-aligned, I don't agree with that, Lali Bella. Do you agree with skeptic with that?
No, I cannot. I mean, the bridging when me respect as far as prime ministers and politicians are concerned,
Michael Manley.
Malcolm Mann is saying
Right.
he
Right.
was castigated for being non-aligned.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
remember say no. Remember Nero, right?
yeah, man, from India. Nehru,
Nehru, right, in
Nehru.
1949, them region there, right? Him,
Mm,
him and many other countries, especially in Malaysia as well, right?
yeah,
They created the non-aligned states. So what's this
yeah,
now? The
yeah, man.
non-aligned states was created as a counterweight to American hegemony or neo-imperialism, neo-colonialism. You get what I say? And when we say neo-colonialism, it simply means what? A new form of colonialism, a new form of imperialism. So when these countries created the non-aligned states, it was more to say, listen me now, we want to hold our independent position without being bullied by all these neo-colonial powers. So Nero and the leader of Malaysia, you know, even Thailand, places like that, you understand me? I say they
Yeah,
was
man,
the
they were
non-aligned
non-aligned.
states where them hold
Big
a
time.
neutral stance.
I look at India to this day. India maintained that stance, m- even with Modi, who has gone out and put forward certain gestures toward Israel.
Right.
He's still largely non-aligned.
Right, right, right,
And,
right. You're right
and
because remember when Russia invaded Ukraine last year February,
exactly.
they wanted India to run and come out and condemn Russia and this and that, and
Yep.
India wasn't doing that because it's not in their best
So,
interest. Remember, say
yep.
India and Russia are buy whole heap of oil. Remember, say India buy whole heap of oil from Russia, right? Cheap, cheap. They are also buying a lot of weapons from Russia. Them are buy fertilizer, whole heap of things. So it was in their best interest to hold a non-aligned position.
Yeah, man. Most of India's weapons pre-Ukraine Russo war came from Russia.
Right.
And the kind of discounts that India is getting from Russia for oil right now is unbelievable. So
Right.
what happened when a powerful, a massive country like India is able to get oil at probably almost two-thirds discount? I mean, it, it's unbelievable how much India benefits from that.
Right.
And
And let me just tell skeptics say under Michael Manley, Jamaica was non-aligned.
Jamaica was non-aligned.
Non-aligned. As
And
a matter of fact, Jamaica was not even aligned with Cuba like that. No.
no,
They
and
were just close countries and they had bilateral agreements. And Michael Manley was promoting democratic socialism while Cuba
yep.
was a communist country.
And he was the
And because them want to style Michael Manley and sabotage him, them brand him as a socialist and a communist, right? As a result of the Monroe Doctrine. And I saw them end up sabotage Michael Manley and them use Edward Seaga through the CIA, right, for sabotage Jamaica's economy and the Jamaican people, lock off the war of them, right? Reagan say what? Squeeze them where it hurts. Them send the economic hitman, stifle Jamaican economy for no reason at all, just
yeah.
because of political ideologies.
Actually, that would have been under Nixon, and to a lesser extent.
It started with Nixon,
And
but it also occurred under Reagan as well too.
no man, with Reagan, right?
Right,
Seaga would have been in power, right? So Reagan came to power in 83.
right,
So at that time, he was perfectly okay with Jamaica because Seaga was in power.
right. But Nixon was saying, squeeze them where it
Yeah,
hurts,
man.
as it relates to the Jamaican economy, and we'd
Kissinger,
have to marry rice and tissue,
yeah, man.
marry little flour and soap and them something there. And
But you
when
know,
Edward Seaga won the election, as a result of CIA interference, that's no secret. That's no secret. It's just
yeah,
that most people in Jamaica afraid to talk about it. It
yeah,
was
man.
the result of CIA interference that put Edward Seaga in power, brought in all the guns into Jamaica,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Through the
Yeah,
CIA, brought in all of them tough truck. They used to have some old police vehicle in the 80s and 90s. And the CIA bringing them there. You
yeah, man.
understand what I say? Bruce Golding. When Bruce Golding went and formed the NDM, Bruce Golding came out and said, under theme time as a JLP, him sit van back come, and when the van back open up a PA gun, in night everybody take gun. And them threatened to sanction him. Bruce
Yeah,
Golding
man.
said that.
Remember, you know, Kissinger came to Jamaica thinking that he could bribe Manley into divorcing from Castro. And the reason why they wanted that is because of what was going on in Angola and those places. So America was of the view that the English-speaking Jamaican country
Right.
propping up or legitimizing Castro is bad news for the English-speaking Caribbean. And this is why you see them going to Grenada. See? Maurice Bishop was also extremely close with Castro. And
Right.
Siaga,
And the thing with Bishop is that he was just like no one, like Bishop, when it comes down to Bishop, Mike and Manley, they did not want to be American puppets. So their crime was refusing to be American puppets. And that's the reason why, right? They actually invaded, that was 1980, right? 1980, 1981, when they actually invaded and pushed out Bishop from
it would have,
Grenada.
it would have been after that because, again, it's after, I think it's 83, 84, when Reagan came.
The Grenada invasion, I think it was 1980, 81 there and about though. But I mean,
Uh,
it's actually within that time frame. You
yeah, man.
understand what
Yeah,
I
the
say?
same epoch. Right,
Yeah.
right,
So
right.
them invade Grenada, right, and get rid of Maurice Bishop just because he refused to be a puppet. Same thing with Michael Manley.
Yeah, and let me say Kevin correct me, which is cool because I'm 81. So I think they might have gone into Grenada in 83, but at any rate, it's the same time frame, right? And
Between 1981 to 83, that was when they invaded Grenada. Between 1980 to 1983, there and about. I
yeah,
think it's
and
1981 or 1980. But anyways, may I leave the room for correction. So
yeah, man,
yeah, within that time frame,
yeah, man,
they invaded.
and Jamaican troops were on the ground in Grenada supporting the US.
Right. And that was under Edward Seaga.
Yep, man, they murdered Maurice Bishop. And you know, I was saying to our virgin the other day, I'm like, it is quite intriguing that there isn't, from my understanding, any bad blood with Jamaica and Grenadans,
Right,
even though we facilitated the demise of their founding father, or you know, the best, you know, the best example of a leader in their country.
right.
Yeah, so Kevin confirmed what I said 1983, so that's good. See,
Yeah, man. Enough respect, Kevin,
83.
for the clarification. So yeah,
Yeah, man.
because Bishop refused to be, a puppet or whatever, them decide say what? He must go. He can't stay. You understand me? I say, and I saw them push him out. But it just goes to say, brother, right? And we can just 360 forward to the whole Kamina Johnson Smith position. And let me tell you why it's counterproductive to Jamaica. Because the Arab world is taking notes of the countries that are actually supporting the lack thereof of humanitarian aid into Gaza. So when it comes down to certain bilateral trade agreements, none of these Arab nations want to deal with Jamaica. Because them are going to say, we remember you. You couldn't even say yes to allow the humanitarian aid in the Gaza. You couldn't do that, Jamaica. Because we know, say, here go on. You are so affiliated with, World Boss and Israel. That's who you care about. So the Jamaican population now, right? When it comes down to even bilateral agreements with these Arab nations, the Jamaican people, they're not going to benefit.
But you
Because
see,
if the country can't benefit, the people can't benefit.
it's so funny, you know, because Anjo is complaining about the trade imbalance with America. And to
Right,
your point earlier, Anjo is hoping to, first and foremost, take advantage of all the technology that Israel has. And Anjo would hope to get closer ties so they could get more, you know what I mean, by way of trade and so forth. But you know, the problem with these trades in many respects is that countries are just dumping their products in Jamaica versus opening up their economy for us to sell our products in those economies.
right, right.
And that is a problem there. And you know, the more your important things, the more you need access to foreign capital, the US currency and so forth. And that unnecessary pressure. You know, I read an IMF document a while ago, seen, and it pointed to the relationship between crime and export. And I'm not too sure what their methodology was. And I don't really remember the number, but it was quite alarming. They're saying that if crime were to go down by certain percentage points, how much that would then impact positively our export. And this information is there, and for whatever it's worth, I don't know how somehow the government of Jamaica try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, but the thing
Or
is, Bella, not to cut your wisdom, right? And I'm skeptic. Remember, the link is here, So yeah, man, we can't talk about needs too, man. Skeptic, man. We can't talk about needs, skeptic. Yeah, man. As long as I the alien talk, we good. So we can't talk about needs too. But Bella, remember saying, even though the IMF is saying that, they are just trying to mask over their global hegemony. Because the reality is this now. Which Jamaican industry is gonna compete when they make certain say them destroy Jamaica's industry through structural adjustment programs?
but
What what do we have to compete with though?
so historically, right? Historically, and I think someone was objecting to it. I don't know if it was on this platform or elsewhere. Historically, the IMF was used to weaponize and destabilize or maintain the developing status of these respective countries.
Right, because the IMF is an extension or is an arm of the United States.
Right, but the in is it 2006? I can't remember what year it was. Jamaica was, as usual, having money problems,
Right.
and they went to the IMF under Portia, and the IMF advised that, yo, well, yeah, the IMF advised that they wouldn't sanction the World Bank for authorize lending us any money. because of how bad things were for us. Our GDP to debt ratio and a whole host of stuff, the crime and a whole host of stuff.
Right.
And this is when Dr. Peter Phillips came in, and he
Yes,
was able to,
because he was the finance minister at the time, right?
right,
Right.
and he was
No,
the
no, no,
one.
no, no. Hold on. Was it him or was it still Davis at the time, though?
No, it was Dr. Peter Phillips,
Okay,
right?
got you.
So
Right,
he created the instruments, he created the policy, and presented to the IMF that, yo, listen, we've devised a way to fund this locally. Because what the IMF was saying that we cannot sanction any external loans. But he was able to um, get the IMF to sign off on what instruments and policies he created. And then it was wholly funded. And this is why when Andrew Holness came to power, Jamaica wasn't in good standing health-wise because of all of what Dr. Peter Phillips did. The Economist, the magazine, Financial Times, even the IMF,
right,
they wrote glowingly about what Dr. Peter Phillips did. And they're saying that any country of this size or in similar situation,
right,
the Jamaican model is the template.
right. 1 second, Lolly Bella. Let me just go through some pleasantries there. Success over hype, enough respect, you know. Yeah, man. Give thanks for the support. We have 24 people in the building. Greatly appreciate every single one that's listening, everyone that is engaging in the comment section. Please remember to, like, if you like the content and you rate the reasoning with the channel, yeah, man, please subscribe and feel free to also share it to a friend who might know, might like these conversations and might want to engage in these discussions, because this is an open platform where we invite, everyone to come and partake in a discussion and share their views. I know I actually have 251 subscribers the last time I checked. I want to say, thank you all very much. You don't know it go. Sometimes it's not the numbers that counts, it's the message and the substance of the conversation. So, if you like the content, you like the channel, yeah, man, just do the right thing, as they would say, and just follow the channel. Once you hit the notification bell, you click all. So once we go live, you are aware, and you can share it to a friend. You can hit the link, join the panel, engage in the conversation, because it's all about constructive dialogues, informative reasoning, and, educational reasoning. That's the whole purpose of this channel. So greatly appreciate the support as always. Lali Bella, over to you.
Yeah, man. I read what Skeptica said that Jamaica will be setting up ports all over Jamaica in January, and I'm not too sure if
No, what he's talking about, he's talking in the context of the NIDS. In the NIDS, the national identification, whatever system, NIDS.
database
National
system maybe.
National Identification System. That's what they call it,
The
NIDS,
D is
right?
probably for database system. Yeah, database system. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So therefore now, remember they actually tried it before. They run a little test with it, and there was pushback from the Jamaican population because people felt that it was something that was being forced down their throat, and it actually infringed on their constitutional rights.
Yeah, man.
But
The opposition rightfully
right,
protested and
right,
were
right, right,
successful.
because it was unconstitutional. But what Skeptic is saying, I think he's speaking in the context of when that was happening. No, them can't force NIDS down nobody's throat. It has
So
to
what is he
be
saying?
an act of parliament that makes NIDS legal in Jamaica.
So what's he saying about ports, though? I mean,
No, the ports would be what he's talking about. He's not talking about like no port of entry or shipping port and like that. He's talking like some little, various place where you go and you check and you scan your eye and you scan your hand. So he might go down the
okay, okay,
conspiracy,
okay,
microchip.
okay, okay.
Microchip. Because as far as him concerned, needs are the microchip and a charge swap them and the new world order globalist elites. Skeptic line of reason already.
Yeah, no, I must say aliens is a part of our existence.
Yeah, man, nothing
I,
wrong, man. A skeptic
I,
that man.
yeah,
A
I
skeptic
will
that we know a
listen.
skeptic I got always want to carry it down that road. A free thinker. Bless up, my brother. It's a 254 right now. All right, give thanks. Me appreciate that to each and every one. Jackie, bless up, my sister. Greatly appreciate the support as always. I said before, the link is pinned. The topics are there. If anyone wants to partake in a discussion, please feel free to join the panel. If you feel intimidated, don't feel like say I come ask no foolishness, because we're not here to embarrass nobody and try to belittle anyone. and go on like say we're more intellectual or more intelligent than anyone else. So me just want all and sundry to know so here go on. This platform on the free for just join and just engage in the reasoning. So as it relates
Yes,
to
sir.
needs Lalibela, right? Needs is something where it has to be an act of parliament. You get what me I say? Or a referendum. You get what me I say?
Yeah, man. Like I think it is inevitable now. But what Mark Golan did back then was very good, and hopefully he is as vigilant in other areas, which I don't think is the case. But I do commend him for what he did then.
So
I,
Lalibela, so what areas you feel say Mark Golan or the PNP is not vigilant in? Because I saw where, he came out and he blasted the Andrew Holness administration for the fact that they couldn't even vote to support the humanitarian aid into Gaza. You get what me I say? But I also understand that that was an opportunity to score political points as well. But at least that was a position where they are not afraid of the repercussions from America or Israel.
so so that's it.
Them being the opposition, them not really afraid. So I kind of respect that. So they could even talk out against it because what the Jamaican government is doing right now, it's not in the interest of the country and it's counterproductive.
You see, when it comes to the idea of scoring political points, if the gesture or whatever they put forward in the space is just platitudes, emptiness, then
Right,
I would usually argue that it is just a political posturing. But when it comes to something like that, to your point, where their statement required courage, I highly commend them, right?
right,
Mark Golden, like for example, I think the PNP is not in a better position than the JLP as it relates to corruption, right? And these six MPs or whomever they are who are under scrutiny, I am of the view that Mark Golan is not as vocal as he ought to be because when it's all said and done, he probably isn't mindful of the efficacy of his house. And Dr. Peter Phillips pointed to that when Mark Golan was on the platform a couple of weeks ago doing the PNP event.
right.
And Dr. Peter Phillips said, yo, listen, brother. Actually, PJ Patterson made a statement. I have the quote somewhere. But in a nutshell, PJ Patterson was saying that you know what I mean, uh let me actually find a quote. Seeing.
But skeptic, yeah, man, skeptic. All right, enough respect, skeptic. If you think that we are saying everything is a conspiracy theory. No, that's not the case. You get what me I say? But we just know say once you talk about need skeptic, we know you talk about the microchip and yeah, we know because you have spoken to us about it already. You get what me I say? So nothing wrong skeptic man. If you feel say that reasoning here is more a scientific based reasoning and the reasoning here is more earth based reasoning and more like a logical, intelligent reasoning, then that's fine. If you want to recuse yourself from the panel, nothing wrong with that, skeptic. Appreciate the interaction at the comment section. Same way still. You see it. Go through Lale Bella. Oh, like Lale Bella, I look for the thing where PJ said. Anyways, long story short, still no. Long story short, still no.
Oh, bonus.
Oh, go to Lale Bella.
Yeah, so what PJ was saying is that, you hear me?
Yeah, man, loud and clear.
He's in a house. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Lale Bella, are you there?
yeah, man.
Yeah,
You hear
go.
me?
Yeah, go through now. Yeah.
Yeah, so PJ Patterson made a statement that a house with rotten wood is bound to fall. And he was talking to the PNP.
Right,
And then Peter Phillips subsequently made a statement where he spoke about, he's the mentor for Mark and
right,
so forth. And
right,
that even if Mark need to reprimand him or admonish him for that which he might have done in the past,
right.
he's perfectly okay with it.
All right,
And
let me say this to Skeptic real quick, and then me give back the mic.
yeah, man.
Skeptic say Imhotep they confirmed it. Please go and watch the press briefing on JS last Wednesday. Next year January will be a trial phase rolling out. No needs now implement. They have to do a trial phase. kind of thing. So it's
Right.
not as if say, oh, next year January everybody have to have needs. No, bro. Them have
There's
to
a,
carry out a test or a trial phase for see its efficacy. So when you are gonna say it a roll out next year, it's not like say boy, oh, it's mandatory and to get a driver's license, you have to have that needs there. And if you want one bank account, you have to have that needs there. No. Because remember, the entire objective of needs is to have an interconnected system, a national database where everything is interconnected. You understand me? I say, and that's the reason why even recently the government has given like financial institutions and businesses some grace period to become a part of the national database. You get what me I say? So all them information, employee information, everything is gonna be shared to a national database. Me get that skeptic. You understand me? I said that's the whole objective of needs. Centralizing all of your database so at least you know so you're going now. In the event of a next pandemic or whatever, you can best monitor, you can best deal with it. Because what's this? In America, right? And during the time of the big C, Lali Bella, if somebody down the road did have it, my phone and notify me and tell me. You
yeah,
understand
man.
me? I say,
Yeah, yeah,
somebody in my ear did have it and I write this on them there. Because what? Them have a national database. You get what me I say? That is what
yeah.
Jamaica is trying to achieve, so at least them can better manage the data. And I understand that. I have a problem with that. But the perception say is microchip and at the mark of the beast and stuff like that. That is not so because if skeptic are travel right now, he might go scan in eye. You understand what I say? I actually saw this place in China now where you scan your eye if you pay for your goods.
Yeah, man.
So at the end of the day, it's all about collecting and storing data effectively so you can have a national database. So I'm not against needs. I was
And
just against the very, autocratic way in which they try to force it on people without any form of public awareness. That was the big problem.
and the way in which they were going to do it, as you
Right,
mentioned before, aspects
right,
of it would have been unconstitutional.
right.
The thing
Definitely.
about NIDS
Definitely.
and why Jamaica has to come up with a system like NIDS is for the fact that soon we will have issues getting visa and traveling to other countries if we cannot shore up a system where Jamaica can properly account for its citizens.
Right,
I remember in the 90s and before that, or even the early 2000s, a lot of people were able to move in and out in a one way that, I mean, they're like, yo, I'm John Doe, and within reason, you couldn't dispute it. So you need to have a system of track. They want to have a system rather to track people from the very inception so that they can guarantee.
yeah, Lalibela look like a breakout a while ago, man.
You may get a phone call. Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, so are them type of thing that's still, and it's okay to think, is there anything sinister and so forth, and to the extent that one has concern about this, there anything being sinister, then read the legislator associated with it or any documents that are associated with it.
Right.
You know, if anyone is gonna come forward saying that, what I mean, there are ulterior motives, read all the available public documentations that have to be sanctioned by the law. It doesn't make any sense for people to say this and say that about NIDS when
Right.
they can read up about NIDS to understand what it is constitutionally.
But I think the problem is though, Lalibela. You see the fact that you have you have even when needs was first brought to the public, again, I will say that it was poorly handled. The information was poorly disseminated. People didn't understand what it was. People had no clue, especially John Public. And remember as well, said there was the conspiracy theory as well. They said the mark of the beast. Cause I remember saying
Yeah,
a long
yeah,
time I
yeah.
start tell me about mark of the beast and microchip and them sitting there. So once we hear about needs and how it work, a man say, yo, a mark of the beast, 666 and whatever. So that fear mongering as well contributed towards the pushback that the government got. But the
Yeah, man.
reality is, though, is that Jamaica, one way or the other, going forward, needs a national database, needs a
Yeah,
system of identification. And for anyone to live in Jamaica and feel like, say, oh, if them scan me an arm, my eye, and mark of the beast, that is just very silly.
Yeah,
And I
man.
think that's the only problem people have with that.
Yeah, and it's just superstition, really, as we say. And yo, brother, 20 years ago, I go on a World Bank facility, and the employees at that time had to use their retina to scan to get into certain spaces. See,
Right,
20 years ago. It's just that they are now able to better scale the technology, and clearly
right,
they would have improved on it. And I mean, for example, my iPhone, brother, me personally, I am perfectly okay with using my eye to unlock my phone. I don't have to put in a passcode. I don't have to use the finger to scan.
right,
I am perfectly with my eyes scanning and getting that done. It's way more seamless. And don't get me wrong, it's that convenience that they usually use to get us. But
right.
as far as I am concerned, there isn't anything we need to concern myself about as far as that is concerned. And this idea of the mark of the beast and rate
Right. I think that is just more like fear mongering, scare tactics, stuff like that.
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
reality
man,
is
of
that
course.
everybody, everybody wants to know say them have one birth paper, or one driver's license, or one passport, or one bank account, and them know say they have to have proper identification. So that's
Yeah,
all
man.
needs is, needs is more like trying to avoid all of these. Oh, a man need to go there, so he must be carrying driver's license or in passport or in birth paper. You get me? I say the need system of all of that. It's just like in America. You get me? I say once them have
Yeah,
the social and the system, them have everything.
yeah, man, and that's the thing. But you know what? I'm not too familiar with some aspects of the Jamaica thing. So what's the name of the other thing? The ID where people have that they use to open bank accounts and so forth.
No, no, it's really like them voters ID or them driver's license or a passport.
No, what's the name of that? But there's another system them have now, right? Where people use that ID like I don't know if it's a social security type ID.
Well,
What
well, remember say a long time we have a tax ID, You get me? I say we with TRN, Remember we have a
TRN
TRN
is
long
what I'm
time.
talking. Yeah, so
Right,
that's what
right,
I'm talking
right,
about, right?
right, right,
TRN.
right, right. Yeah.
Seeing so the TRN. So the TRN is a tax ID.
Right,
Okay, so yeah, so clearly then that makes sense, right? Because even here in America, if we want a tax ID, we can get a tax ID, right?
right, easily.
However, that tax ID is designed for a particular purpose. But
Right.
in Jamaica, they've been overusing it because they didn't have a NID type system. We need a database that we can properly track the citizenry.
Of course,
In the
of course. And as me say, nothing wrong with needs. The problem is the conspiracy theories, them know we talk about the mark of the beast and them something there.
yeah,
And
and
these are
it's
the same people who are very well identified and easily identifiable too.
yeah, man, real talk. And guess what? Nothing will come of it. And once it's properly implemented, people will be like, "Wow, what the hell were we bothered by?"
Right, right, right,
Everything is
right,
that much more seamless because once you have a proper system, once you have a proper system, a proper database to monitor and track people,
right,
when you go to the government or whomever you go to and say, "Yo, I am John Doe," you know what I mean? There isn't that big old reservation, apprehension.
right.
Seeing so, I just saw they got. I mean, you know how much people from Jamaica leave on someone else's passport and so forth, because all kind of different things. We need a system. The concern shouldn't be the retina scan. I mean, it's just technology. It's
Right, right.
improving, making
Correct.
things better.
Correct. Because just like all a Rastaman now, right? The same Rastaman were bonfire. I mean not say all Rastaman, but I talk about because so Rastafari really start the whole conspiracy theory in a way in Jamaica. Mark of the Beast and 666 and them. Something there. So what's this now? Them are the
Well,
same
Seventh-day
Rastaman.
Adventist, Seventh-day
Eh?
Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist,
Well,
Seventh-day Adventist,
well, a Bible, No, no, Lalibella. Rasta talk about Mark of the Beast and then sitting there from the 40s and 50s, brother.
and the Seventh-day Adventists were there before them doing it.
No, but the
But
70 Adventists them never really talk about it that much better. The Rasta them really dominate the space with that. The 70 Adventists them talk about it in a church. So you don't be a
right,
member of the church for really
right,
hear. But we're
correct,
talking about the secular world,
right, right.
right, was more sensitized to that by the Rastafarian community. You get what I
No,
say?
I agree with that, right? And
Right.
when we're talking about Rastafari the other day, I don't know if I said it, but like the 12 tribe is really the rebranded Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yeah,
A
but
lot of
listen to
the ones who
skeptics say,
went,
Lalibel, not
Mhm.
to cut When skeptic forward in earlier, skeptics say we are most of the 12 tribes and lost tribes and them sitting there, So I there's a skeptic that do with him thing, you know.
I was very intrigued that he made mention to the 12 tribes.
Yeah, I'm skeptic. Check in and tell me about the 12 tribe and last tribes there. Yeah, me feel said that's a good reasoning too. Yeah, man. The 12 tribe thing there is a good reason for a reason because watch this thing, you know, Lalibela. You have a lot of Rastas, but say them are 12 tribes, not true, because you have a 12 tribe movement, you know, the
Hmm.
Rastafarian movement. You have the Bobo, you have the Orthodox, you have Nyabingi, etc., etc. So you really have some Rastaman where do you the 12 tribe thing. Now, skeptic will say last tribe because once you do 12 tribe, you got also embrace the last tribes and you
Yeah,
might say,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
we are the last
yeah.
tribe of Dan and all of them things.
Right, right,
You
right, right.
understand me? I say? So me just want
So,
kind of overstand skeptics angle when him say 12 tribe or last tribe or them
last,
I think.
yeah. So maybe he's a Hebrew Israelite now. Then.
Yeah, chances are he might be a Hebrew Israelite because remember too, you know, you have enough Jamaicans, you have enough black Jamaicans who who are embrace this Hebrew Israelite thing. You have all the black Americans that embrace this Hebrew Israelite thing, and then you'd have the rest of them who would actually embrace it long time. You get what me I say? And then you have some Hebrew Israelites down in Montego Bay where a couple months ago the government went down there and pick up almost 16 little pitney and charge them for child endangerment. One bag of something them are going with. Hebrew Israelite them. Don't a man to go
Yeah,
be.
man.
You understand me I say? So these people are not new. You get me I say? Just like how you have the Nuapians them. The Nuapians them that Jamaica enough to, you know, brother. That are the Malachites,
Hmm.
the York people, them, you know. Them
Yeah,
change
man.
them
Yeah,
name
man.
now. They might change them name now. You get me I say? But yeah, a couple of years ago they were Nuapians and they were very proud. Them compound something there. Them compound radio shows, them compound really just art talk with my brethren there.
Ian boy.
Mine, right.
Yeah.
You get me? I
Yeah, I've
said they
seen it a
came
few
on that
times.
program too. Yeah, so them debout.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Hebrew Israelite them debout too, because I remember back in the days when me and I go to school, right in the middle of Half Tree Park, you used to have the Hebrew man them too in a real life.
You know what
So,
funny?
so there is this infatuation with trying to be Israelites. So I don't know why though. I don't know why. I would like for someone come and tell me why is it that black people have to be Israelites in order for them to accept who they are? Probably
Well,
skeptic Goodly can come elaborate on that still.
it's a progression from Christianity to the extent that many have had issues with Christianity, and they are of the view that if I were to be an Israelite, I am in a better position because I'm now reverting to what my higher elevation was. But it's still within that Judeo-Christian reference. But you know what me curious about though, brother?
Right.
Is the amount of Muslims who are now going to Jamaica, whether the ones who are deported or I've seen a lot of Muslims from Morocco who I follow on social media who are in Jamaica. See? And I truly believe that in the next 20, 30 years, and you know, when me deliver Jamaica, you never really have no hope of mask or anything there, Jamaica. See? And me I hear about there being a lot of mosque in Jamaica and so forth. Me never know a single Muslim when me never Jamaica. I
Well,
mean, I
the
don't know
thing is
about
this
you.
now. At the age of like about 12, at the age
Yeah.
of 12, 13, that is when I saw like a first mass and them say them people are Muslim and things like that. You get what me I say?
Mm.
And then now down the road now, you know, like when me was 16, 17, 18 now, me kind of realize you have a lot of Muslims in Jamaica, even more than we think. And one of the main reasons is this too, you know. Um, a lot of Jamaicans, right? You don't know it, go. A man might go foreign and him feel like say him
England.
foreign a better rose, whether England, America, Canada, wherever. And decide say him a going to fast lane. You see, when he going to fast lane and him get catch and go to prison or jail, the best position for him to take is being a
Right.
Muslim because
Yep.
being a
Yep.
Muslim in a prison, nobody not trouble you and them things. You get what me I say?
Yep.
So most of the
Yep.
man them decide to that's how them a go until them get infatuated with the whole Muslim thing. You have some of them leave it when them come back out and get deep, and you have some of them still hold on upon it. So you realize you know the whole Islamic thing in Jamaica, yeah, it's not as big as Christianity, but you realize it is actually a little bit bigger than we thought.
It's
Because
growing.
right now it is growing. You get what I saying? As me say, most I deported them, we come to Jamaica. If you ask them when them in a prison, Islam them a deal with. You
Yeah, man,
understand what
and
I say?
yeah, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the Western Hemisphere right now,
Right, 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 right,
and
right,
that is a fear that they even have in Europe. And you even listen to a lot of the Israelis and so forth, and they're like, "Yo, those Muslims, they're coming to Europe, Sharia law, and a bunch of this and a bunch of that."
right,
So a whole bunch of fear mongering. But
right,
you know what's peculiar though, right? Even to when you were talking about what is in Jamaica's best interest as it relates to the actions of Andrew Holness.
right.
Now, me a staunch Michael Manley youth, and me support what he was doing for Jamaica. I am of the view that it would have been the best part for Jamaica. And a big man, JP man, him come to me and say, "Yo, brother, you've got to be pragmatic. Um, Jamaica couldn't and shouldn't have expected to go against America, and we're in this hemisphere, and we should have known that America wouldn't have countenanced any kind of dissent from Jamaica."
Right.
Uh, and that's the realism, real politic realism perspective that he was providing to me.
Right, because remember, Lalibela, no one dare goes against the Monroe Doctrine in the Western Hemisphere and win. And we're talking about North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. And we have seen all the invasions, right? Nicaragua, we see Guatemala, we see Panama, we see what they did in Chile, we see what they did in so many other South American countries. So what we're saying is that the Monroe Doctrine is something I expected Norman Manley to understand and to also
Michael,
navigate.
Michael.
Michael Manley, sorry, to understand and to navigate around, because remember, say the Monroe Doctrine is tied into American foreign policy. So
Yeah,
there is no two way around it.
and you know the thing about it, right? The biggest mistake that Michael made was his rhetoric, right? The
Right.
biggest mistake that Michael Manley made was his rhetoric, right? When you listen to the reasoning from the Americans and so forth, they were perfect okay with Manley, but Manley was saying something that he probably shouldn't have said. And he said it himself afterwards, right? One of the last interviews he did, he said, "You know what? I probably shouldn't have said some of the things that I said in the 70s." And
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Yeah, of course, he does have regrets because some of the statements were more based on impulses than logics too. You get what me I
it,
say? I
it
mean,
it's
yeah, go
not
through.
even impulse more than he figured he had the it was imperative morally for him to do it, right? And as with Netanyahu or as with America, it's all about strategic interests. It's never about what is humane, what is ethical, what is moral. It's
That's
all
right.
about what is the national interest.
That's right.
Now,
And that's where, not for cut you, Ali, but that's sorry for cut you, but watch this, you know. That is where the ideology, right, must be in synchronicity or must act in synchronicity with the interests of the country and the people. And sometimes leaders allow their ideology, right, to guide the policy of the country when it should be what is in the best interest of the country. So what's this now? With Michael Manley, he was espousing democratic socialism. Nothing wrong with that, because we saw even Bernie Sanders expose that, right? The problem was when the Americans got aggressive with him, he pushed back at them. You get what me I say? And when he pushed back at them now, he ruffled some feathers. And I think that is where things start to go south. What do you think about that?
so you see the thing about it, it's not even necessarily that he pushed back, it's how he pushed back, right? Like,
Right,
for example, when Kissinger went to Jamaica and was in Ocho, he wanted Michael Manley to come and visit him there, right? And Beverly Manley was like, "Brethren, is Kissinger the prime minister or are you the prime minister?" See?
right.
And Manley told Kissinger that you need to come see me at Vale Royal. And Kissinger did go to meet with him. And Kissinger was, in no uncertain terms, he's technically whatever he was,
He was the Secretary of State.
right. So it's
Right.
right. So that's what I'm
Right,
saying,
and
right?
you know the Secretary of State is like the second most. All right.
Right.
So when they come on to the American system, right, you would say what? Probably the. You see, the Secretary of State is it similar to the Jamaican Minister of Foreign Affairs, but because
Or
America that That is like one of the second most powerful person, because that
Right.
person they go all over the world and liaise with other countries on
So
behalf of America. So
so
he
so
was in
in
a
Ja-
very powerful position.
so in Jamaica, right? The finance minister is that person as far as second in power. And in
Right,
America,
right,
yes, it is the
right. The
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, yeah, and then you have the Defense Secretary. Yeah,
Right,
you get what me I say,
right,
right,
right. And that's why Nixon initially was the Secretary of State when he was brokering his deal with China and
right.
so forth. So you see, when Kissinger came, Kissinger was like, "Your virgin, listen, just stop with the spotlight and the grandstanding and certain type of things, and you know what I mean, you hang out with Castro, you probably shouldn't, and so forth." And Manley was like, Fidel is my friend and he's a neighbor. And Manley was right. But you see, the thing is, brother, as I'm even telling my young youth, them, sometimes you're right, but you've got to be tactical in how you execute whatever you
Yeah,
need to
and you
get
have
done.
sometimes to, yeah, because what's this, at that time as well, now, remember, brother, from the 60s come straight up, I remember say America not like Castro because of what he did, right? Him kick
Yeah,
out
man.
the Batista, him nationalize the Cuban industry. American companies got cut out. The mob, right? The Italian mob built up the whole heap at casino down at Cuba. American tourists were flocking to Cuba. So Cuba was like a second America, so to speak. So when he
Yeah, man.
nationalized everything now, they never forgave him for that. So their hatred towards Castro was like anybody who aligned. And what Michael Manley did as well, Remember, there was a meeting between Michael Manley, Castro, the what's his name, man, from the Sandinista man, Daniel Ortega,
Yeah.
right, from Nicaragua,
Well,
right? Michael Manley met with all of those. So there was a meeting of all these groups. And then now
yeah,
the
man.
Americans say, wait, look at what's going on. All right, this no look good. So there's a Michael Manley there. So as I said, which is right, Michael Manley made some miscalculations because during that time, during the 70s and the 80s, where say all over South America, all over Central America, the Caribbean, even in Africa, all over the world, right? It was democracy a fight against communism. I just say them there, brother. You
So,
get
so,
me? I say
so,
a capitalist environment versus a communist environment, and them say in the Western Hemisphere there, anybody where we see want to lean left, we have to get rid of them. So Michael Manley doing that photo up with all them man there, with Castro and the Nicaragua leader Ortega and the rest of them. Them just put him in another group there. And I saw them
yeah,
start go to work against Michael Manley using Edward Siaga.
yeah, and the thing about it is that what Michael was doing with Castro, he pointed out that Castro was a dear friend of his. So it was more than a photo op. He's been to Cuba at least 2 or 3 times, right? But you know what? To the
Right.
extent that Michael Manley and Fidel Castro, to the extent that Fidel Castro and the Russians were able to repel the expansion of apartheid in South Africa, I will
Right.
forever commend Michael Manley because
Definitely.
we're asking Andrew Holness to employ that same level of courage today. See?
Well, Lalibela, respectfully, we don't even want Andrew unless we go out on no limb or go no far, All the people them want to see, when it comes on to international foreign policy, do what is in the interest of Jamaica and not what is in the interest of special lobbies.
So that's my point, though, right?
Right.
What Andrew did today, now, technically is in the interest of Jamaica, but comes at great cost to Palestine, right? What Michael Manley did was not in the interest of Jamaica, but in the interest of Angola and the other countries. You see what I say?
Right. So all right. So stick up in. So you're saying that what Andrew Owens did was in the interest of Jamaica now.
Yeah,
What makes you say that though?
because he is further able to ingratiate himself with Israel and the United States of America. The reason
But
why
remember,
Andrew
but Lalibela, not to cut you doing it. Remember saying no, just to vote on a resolution to say, well, have a ceasefire on humanitarian grounds. Yeah, I mean,
no man,
143 countries voted for that.
no, but you're
So
not at the levels,
me
right?
not see nothing wrong. Not, Jamaica would not have
Don't,
been wrong if them
no man,
voted to say that.
you know, see the rhetoric that's coming from Israel. This the Israeli diplomat who is at the UN, he
Right.
refuses to meet with Guterres because Guterres is also calling for ceasefire. And they're conflating anyone, they're conflating, first and foremost, if you support Palestine right now, that to the Israelis and even America to a certain degree, that is tantamount to supporting Hamas. For
Right,
example,
I get that. I get that because I saw them want to use that whip there
right,
over
right.
everybody. But watch this, Watch this, Remember, right, we're talking about the United Nations, right? General Assembly. So you talk about all of the world leaders or most of the world leaders in one place coming to an amicable agreement on a humanitarian situation. Now, what's
I
this now?
understand.
Voting to allow water and food and medication into Gaza, right, to assist the people, right? They not talk about fuel, no. Remember, they said no fuel. You get me? I said no fuel at all. They not allow no fuel to go in there. What they're saying, food, medication, water, because these people are in a crisis. And I am saying, right, 143 countries, even all Barbados, them and them countries, they vote to say, yeah, man, we will agree. The only problem with the Americans, what the Americans did, and they deliberately sabotage this United Nations General Assembly vote, they wanted to insert, right, a statement that condemns the Gaza man them and what the rest of people are saying. Because remember, it was actually the Arab bloc that presented this resolution. So because of the man them in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, UAE, Qatar, and the whole them man there. You understand me? I say they are the ones who drafted this resolution. You get what me I say? No, the reality is that 143 countries say yes. The Gaza people, not Hamas, the people, women and children and the elderly, yeah, man, them forget water and food and medicine. That's the basic human right. Now, what
Yeah,
I'm
brother.
saying is this now. If Andrew Holness did vote, say, yeah, man, them forget that, Nothing wrong. The problem was because the
All right.
Americans them put in that clause in it to just deliberately for derail it. Because them don't
So,
want a ceasefire. They don't want a
so,
ceasefire.
so I think moral, it is moral and ethical for all countries to vote for the ceasefire, right? The problem for Andrew, who is a mendicant, is that Israel view any ceasefire as complicity as relates to what Hamas did. Like look at what even Elon Musk suggested. Because right, them kill all of the telecom and internet in Gaza now, right?
Right, right,
Uh,
right, right, right.
and and Elon Musk was like, you know what? I am going to make Starlink available for humanitarian aid and so forth. See? And what the Israelis are saying is that the who's this Virgin? I can't remember what cabinet position the Virgin have, but he did say that he's going to do everything within his power to ensure that Israel sever all ties with Elon Musk, Starlink, and whatever else Elon Musk has.
Right, right,
Even
right,
though,
right,
hold on, even though Elon Musk was careful in saying that this is just for the humanitarian aid.
right,
What he's saying is that once Elon Musk spoke about the humanitarian aid, and what the Virgin was like, yo, Hamas is a terrorist group, and he just because see the Palestinians, right? Hezbollah, whatever the president is, he's saying that there are no innocent Palestinians. Every one of them are complicit as it relates to what Hamas has done. So the
right,
Israeli position is that there are no innocent Palestinians. You know what's
right.
funny? The Minister of Defense came out today, right? And he was warning the Palestinians to leave North Gaza. You know what he was doing? He was speaking in English, right?
Right.
Who in a Gaza speak English like that?
No,
See?
they speak Arabic, but some of them might know a little English, but they speak
Yeah, but
Arabic.
if
So
you
what
want
this,
to be, yeah, but if you
But
want to be
normally as
effective,
well,
right?
normally as well, not to cut you, Normally, what Israel would normally do, I fly over and drop some leaflets and say, yo, vacate or whatever, whatever.
Exactly,
You get what
exactly.
me I say? So, and then
That's
write
what.
it in the predominant local language, which is Arabic. So what's this to, Lalibela? The problem with this situation in the Gaza, is that everybody I say free the Gaza from Hamas, or free Palestine from Hamas, or free Gaza from Hamas. But you're talking about the same people. They are one and the same. You understand me? I said they are like two Siamese twins, so to speak. A one body that. So at the end of the day, they want to lump all of the people them in the Gaza and say the whole of uno are Hamas. So therefore, everything we are reaching now, right? Yeah, man, we don't have to feel sorry for no. What the
Yeah, that makes
United
right.
Nations Secretary General did though, he made it clear that what happened on October 7 did not happen in a vacuum. In other
Exactly.
words, what he must say, this never come out of thin air. This has been 75 years or over 50 years of tension and war.
Over
And I
100
saw
years,
them end up
brother.
attack him. I saw them attacking the Israeli ambassador, attack him and say he need to resign and this and that because what's this, Israel knows say America is gonna defend it in the UN.
Yep.
That's
And
why you
don't be
see them
surprised.
actually
And
a
don't be
posture.
surprised if good. And don't be surprised if
I'm last term this,
Gutierrez
them are gonna
is
force him out.
right.
Yes,
See?
I'm last year this man. Them are gonna
Yeah.
force him out. This is the last term. They are
Yeah,
gonna
man.
force him out and get rid of him. But
Yeah.
all him say, which is true, the man say this attack never come out of thin air at all.
He's right.
It's a cause and effect scenario. That the man a say. And
He's
then now
right.
them a
But
turn
no
upon
one
him
wants to
like say
talk.
what he must say wrong. What he must say no wrong. A reality the man attack. But just because them take what him a say, fi say boy, oh, you are not siding with us, them want to get rid of him and them know say them have the American backative, so that's so them the brother. Them have the power, them have the talk.
Yeah, man. And guess what? Andrew is quite aware of all of that, right? And Andrew know what the blowback would be if he were to vote for it, right? See, the thing is, for whatever it's worth, Barbados has a more diverse economy. Barbados is less vulnerable in ways that Jamaica is vulnerable. And those are the problems for Jamaica.
Right,
The
because
co-
what's this in a Lali Bella? What's this in? Andrew Holness, because of the bilateral agreements and the MOUs where him signed with Israel when him did go over there, right? Him can't afford to jeopardize them there. So him put for himself in a position. Remember, brother, Netanyahu them a right wing nationalist, You get what me I say? You see, when they come on to the JLP, they are right wing government. They are considered
yeah,
right
man.
wing government.
Yeah, man.
Netanyahu them are right wing Zionists. Know what
Yeah,
I'm
man.
saying? Right?
Yeah.
What Andrew Holness is doing, he's putting some little bilateral agreements and some MOUs in front of the interest of Jamaica. Whereas,
So,
remember,
so, so,
certain deals not signed yet, brother. I
so
just
hold on, now.
because,
Hold
yeah,
on. Now. That's what we're talking about. No, no. You see, supporting the ceasefire technically isn't in Jamaica's best interest, See? Because of the blowback that comes from that, from the people who Jamaica depends on, right? It is ethical, it is a moral thing to do, and this is why Michael Manley stands tall. But truth being told, if Andrew Holness were to do that, and I truly think he ought to, for whatever it's worth, though, it really wouldn't be in Jamaica's best interest. You see, this and to your point, right? Because Andrew pegged himself to America, and to a lesser extent, he's trying to build this nascent relationship with Israel.
right,
For those purposes, he wasn't necessarily thinking about whatever bilateral he might develop with Saudi Arabia,
right,
Qatar, Kuwait, or anywhere else, and definitely he's not thinking about Palestine. See?
right, right, right.
So you see, because that's how he sees the world through his politics. If he were to be admonished by the Arabs, as far as he's concerned, it's not such a big deal because my friend up north, the hedge man, will take care of me. That's where I'm getting my oil. That's where I'm getting
Yeah,
everything that I
yeah,
need.
and that's the problem because here we go on now. 10, 15 years ago, Jamaica was not that like that in terms of you know, international geopolitical alignment. Jamaica took a non-aligned, independent stance on issues and certain matters, right?
Uh,
So here we go on now. We do not allow special interest and lobby to superimpose on us how we must vote. We never did that. It's really since Andrew Holness them forward in a power, you realize that them start to take that position there. Now, my
well,
point is this: there are many other countries, 143 countries voted yes. Many other smaller countries who have good relationship with America and Israel and who voted yes for them to have, at least letting humanitarian aid because under international law, the people have a right to life. And
so
denying them the basic humanitarian aid is illegal based by international law. So what I'm saying
so
is Jamaica, Jamaica is voted. Jamaica could not take a position because Jamaica kind of abstain. You understand me? I say where and them try to explain and talk about say mix up go on and they never know what go on. Technically, they would have been considered to say them abstain or they never get to vote. No, when
Right.
me I say Jamaica could not vote on a matter of humanity. A death of history I got also remember the anti-honest administration. So listen to me, irrespective of whatever agreements you and Israel them sign and whatever, you're talking about humanity and
But we try,
Jamaica
so
throughout
we try,
history has
but,
always been a humanitarian country.
so we try to show you, right? For all intents and purposes, relative to such a vote in a broader, with a, as it relates to a broader body, it is us who are talking about Jamaica. No one else in the country, in the world talk about Jamaica, See? Nobody else is talking about Jamaica. And as it relates to foreign policy in Jamaica, there's a PNP versus JLP binary effect. When PNP is in power, they don't align. But if it's Michael Manley, if it's Edward Siaga, Bruce Golan is probably the only exception. Seeing whether it's Bustamante, if it's Hugh Lawson Shearer,
Right,
they
right,
usually take the position that the current administration is taking. You know what's interesting? What is really interesting, you see, in 1947,
right,
when they were voting to ratify whether or not Israel should become a state,
right,
you know that Haiti and Philippines were the two countries who broke the tie.
right.
And what America did was, we're gonna give you loans to Philippines and Haiti. It might have worked out for the Philippines, but clearly it hasn't worked out for Haiti, right?
Right, and at that time, Tina, remember said that the U.S. right, the U.S. had just have to cede control of the Philippines. Because
Right.
I remember said them they control them, invade the Philippines and kill off a portion of Philippines over there in the 1890s, in the 1880s, 1890s. Yeah, there was a serious American Filipino war. Long story short, though, and it's gonna dovetail into the conversation or the topic of Orientalism and how it works, right?
So, so, so,
I'll,
so before we get to that, right?
yeah,
Truth Hurts is wondering if we could talk about Francophone Africa and how France deal with them. But
yeah,
um,
man, definitely in a Lalibela. I mean, if you're up to it, we can definitely read about Burkina Faso and Niger and Gabon. You understand me? I say Mali, right?
yeah,
Chad.
yeah,
Yeah. We can have a conversation on that, but I just want to
yeah, man.
reason on Orientalism because it is not diametrically opposed to what's going on in the Gaza Strip. Because when it comes down to Orientalism, it's an aspect of racism or colonialism as well, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
man.
when it comes down to Orientalism, it's all about the East versus the West. And when I hear certain conversation, I hear them say Russia versus the West. You get what
Yeah.
me I say? When them talk about Iran versus the West, that is in an Orientalist connotation. Now, when you look at Orientalism, right? The people them actually differentiate the Western world from you see the people in the Levant region and China whatever then call them East. You get me I say? So
Yeah, man.
them call those people the Oriental. At one point in time in history or in academia, them call the whole of them region there the Orient. You get
Yeah,
what me I
man.
say?
Yeah,
And
man. Yeah,
then
man.
and
Right.
then now the Europeans then know them call them the Occident or the West. Now when you look at Orientalism now, it's the same thing taking place in the Gaza Strip because it was Orientalism that showed the Western world. So listen, these people are savages. These people just ride the camel in the desert, them wild, and them depict the man them as some little angry, aggressive people so as to justify subjugating them in whatever way it means. They did the same thing to Africa. They depicted Africans as savages, barbarians, uncivilized people. So they got the justification, or it actually created that public opinion to say, well, our country is justifiable in its actions towards these people in subjugating them or quote unquote trying to make them civilized. It's the same thing they did with Orientalism. They depicted these people as savages and barbarians, and they need to be, taught, civilization. And they use that pretext to subjugate them. And that's the same thing we see going on in the Gaza Strip between, Palestine and Israel. Because the reality is that migration where them carry all them Europeans over there, it was a project of orientalism as well. It was a way to have a colonial state in the Middle East as well, in a real life.
So the Jews, the Zionists rather, shouldn't say Jews, the Zionists, they wanted to have a settler colony in the region. And as we've spoken of before, that's why they reach out to Cecil Rhodes and so forth, right?
Right.
And eventually America realized that we need to have not America, but we need to have a bulwark in a Western bulwark in that region. And to your point, right? Nowadays, when they speak about Israel, Israel is mentioned with the West. See?
Right. Correct.
And it's quite peculiar with what you're saying, right?
Right.
That Palestine is right there,
Right.
but they are not viewed as Western. There isn't another country in that region
Right.
that's viewed as a Western country other than Israel. See?
All right, watch this, lady, Bella. Well, I'm gonna pass back the mic to you. When it comes on to even Champions League, right?
That's where I was gonna go.
The Israeli clubs them play in the Champions League.
That's where I was gonna go.
League. Yes, when it come on to Europa League, anything for deal with Europe, at this so them put Israel over in
Yeah.
You understand me? I said them don't put Israel as no part of over the part them in the Middle East,
Right.
You get what I say?
And when me researched that, what the feedback was, since Israel is culturally aligned with the West, it made sense for them to participate. You know what I mean?
But the question is though, how are they culturally aligned with the rest when they claim to be from Palestine and they claim to practice Judaism? You get me? I say, not a cultural alignment there, so.
So remember, you see the thing about it now, the Zionists, when they were going to Palestine,
right,
they were always pledging to build a Western reference in Palestine.
Right. A Western democracy, so to speak.
Yeah,
right.
they wanted everything Western. They even
right.
got so granulated to the point where they said that we wanted clean streets and all these kind of things.
Right.
Can you know, for example, if you look at that image of most countries, you see the picture I'm saying of Ethiopia, right? You couldn't tell, except for the obelisk, you probably couldn't tell that was in somewhere outside of the Americas and Europe,
Right.
Because most places usually the how they handle the pavement, and most of those countries they don't grow trees. Like if you look at any image of Jamaica, you can always tell that that's not America, right? But the pictures I was sending of Ethiopia, you can't tell where that is based on the vantage point they had. So if you're in Tel Aviv, you can't tell saying they're Europe, see? And because Europeans went there to build that country, they built it like what they had here. Because that was one of the problems that they had, How do we get our European Jews to come to dusty Palestine? That's not my saying dusty Palestine, it's them.
Right. It's them,
right. Else we build and we replicate what they had in Europe. And that's where that was. I'm glad you mentioned what you said about them not being from Palestine, right? I listened to Noam Chomsky, and Noam Chomsky said, listen, my ancestors are not from that region. And it's refreshing to hear a Jew say that, see? Because he knows for a fact that his ancestors are not from there.
Right.
But most people are just not honest and have the requisite integrity for something like that, see? But the truth, and as well, right, there has never been any kind of research or anything that pointed to any Ashkenazi connection in Asia, in the Middle East. There isn't any.
None. Right. Yeah. That's right. That's why they actually had to use Judaism to justify their connection.
Yeah.
You understand what I say?
Well, truth person, in all honesty, the Arab countries wouldn't play with Israel anyway. You know what's so funny? The Sheriff of Mecca, the Sheriff of Mecca, Sharif Hussein, he signed off on the document to bring Israel back home, quote unquote, Israelis back, the Jews back to the region, seeing? He was perfectly okay with it. the Arabs at the time were just so naive, and the
But
reason why they
he
were
got,
naive,
yeah, got you.
sorry, the reason why they were naive was because the British was double crossing them left and right.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, the sheriff of Mecca that you mentioned, right, which
Hmm.
is Hussein.
Yeah,
He
Sharif
got
Hussein, right?
Transjordan. He got Transjordan as part of the agreement, and he got Iraq as well. His
Right,
family were the ones who were running Iraq.
right.
You get me? I said that's why even the previous Iraqi leader, the Saddam Hussein, he's related to that guy. And when you look at Jordan now, the ruler of Jordan is King Hussein as a monarchy. It's the same Transjordan that they got.
Hold on.
So as a matter of
So,
fact, now him get to
no,
input.
no. So King Abdullah, not King,
Right.
not Abdullah. King Hussein. No, it's a different King Hussein, you know.
Yeah, but hold on, man. All I'm saying, that Hussein, he's the one that got Transjordan. He
Which
got
Hussein?
trans.
Sharif Hussein?
Yes, yes, yes,
No,
yes. Mm-hmm.
no, man. The Sheriff of Mecca, King Hussein, right? King Hussein was the virgin who was married to Queen Noor, the American queen, right? He's a different Hussein, you know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this, Lalibela. Yes, you see that same Hussein you're referring to, that
Mm.
signed the agreement to make them come back. He, as part of the agreement, got Transjordan and got Iraq. That his family could rule over those countries
Oh,
as part of the deal. And that's why they are the ones ruling Jordan now.
yeah,
They are the
but
ones running Transjordan because he got Transjordan, and Transjordan also actually encompasses parts of Lebanon and parts of Syria too. I just that the whole border in the whole Americans and British them remark the place after the Sykes and Pico as well. And Transjordan, right, end up splitting a two, and part of it becomes the West Bank too. So why you think the Israelis them are play harder with the West Bank people them? Because the reality is in 1948 there was no quote unquote West Bank. There was no West Bank. 1948, all of that region that is modern day West Bank was a part of Transjordan.
yeah, but no. So that I understand, you know, seeing, and you have to understand, right? You see, the King Hussein on me attack,
Right,
which may I look it up now just to be on the safe side. See,
right.
Hussein bin Talal. He's different from Sharif Hussein, and I think their Hussein is actually spelled differently. Um, because remember, even him, you know, when he was fighting the 67 war, the 48 war, and so forth, in 67, you know, what I mean, they had control of the West Bank,
Right. No,
and,
but
and,
all
and,
of
and,
that
and
was a part of Transjordan.
right, seeing, and what happened though is that they worked a deal with the Israelis, and I saw them back down
Right,
and
right,
didn't
right.
defend the Palestinians.
Right, and that's the reason why, remember saying, even prior to Israel's independence, Declaration of Independence in 1948, right? Jerusalem, right? Based on the United Nations, they say Jerusalem should be like an international city where
Yeah, man.
neither the Jews, them, nor the quote unquote Palestinians, them have no rights over it, so to speak. It has got to stay neutral. However, the Mufti, the Grand Mufti,
Of
were in
Palestine.
charge, were good. The Grand Mufti of Palestine were in charge of the holy sites, the Al Aqsa Mosque and them something there. He's Jordanian. And up until now, a part of the agreement is a Mufti, is a Jordanian, control the Al Aqsa Mosque compound. And the
So,
Jordanians them
so,
control it.
so, so 90% of Jordanians are Palestinians, you know. See?
Right, because as me I say, it was Transjordan. There was no West Bank in
No, 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 me
1948.
understand.
So me I say it's
No,
a
me,
one
no,
people them, a one
no, me,
people them this so.
no, me understand that. But I don't think, because me if I look right now real quick just to make sure that me never miss nothing. But I don't think Hussein of Jordan is related to the sheriff, the sheriff of Mecca. But anyway, you know what's interesting?
Right,
A lot of times we talk and say, boy, yo, because a lot of us want to give Russia credit to Russia never colonized Africa, right? And
right,
Russia never colonized anywhere.
right.
But you know that same Sykes-Picot deal, right? It was signed in Russia, you know. See?
Mm-hmm.
And Russia, France, and Britain were supposed to partition the Middle East. But what happened is that Vladimir Lenin happened, the Bolshevik Revolution. See? And
Right.
it is that secret deal, they were the ones who revealed the secret deal to the world. That was the first time we discovered the deal. So after they conquered Tsarist Russia, Russia wasn't even interested in the imperialistic posturing toward that region. So it's very interesting that oftentimes we give Russia undue credit for not having colonized anywhere else.
No,
And
no, Lalibela, hold on, Lalibela. I think when it comes down to the conversation about Russia, most black people say Russia was one of the European powers who never colonized Africa. You
yeah,
understand
that's
me? I
what I
say,
said.
I
That's
yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, but I'm good. But you are talking about the Middle East where it
No,
different. You get me? I say, and even Japan. Remember saying no. Remember Manchuria, right? Russia controlled Manchuria at one point in time. Remember, remember the Japanese. Remember there was a 1908 Russo-Japan war, and Japan defeated Russia.
you're
Japan was
talking
never
during World War II?
no, no, no. World War II, 1939 to 1945. I thought about
Oh, it's in
1908.
1908,
1908,
is it? Okay.
Russo-Japan War, where Japan and Russia went and fought, and they fought over Manchuria, and the Japanese defeated the Russians, and so Japan controlled Manchuria.
Manchuria, right? And that's when they were doing all the
Yeah,
crazy experiment. And you know,
right.
this is why Japan wasn't punished during World War II because of their advanced biological weapon in Manchuria, where they were testing on the Chinese people.
Right, because the Chinese them they control Manchuria to an extent with Russia, and the Japanese fought the Russians, defeated them, right, during that time because Russia had imperialist ambitions in a Southeast Asia though. You understand me? I say? Because remember say Russia border with North Korea, Russia border with China, Russia border with
I
Manchuria.
mean,
You get me? I say?
a part of Russia is Asia, right? That's why,
Right, right, right.
right?
So they did have imperialist agenda, but what we are say is that Russia was one of the few or the only European superpower who never colonized Africa or never even got in Africa for deal with no imperialism. As a
Well,
matter of
no.
fact,
So they
Russia,
did make an
hold on,
attempt
me
in
plane.
Africa, you know, it just didn't work out for them.
No, we are in Africa.
I have to go find it. See, I looked
No,
at it a while ago.
there is no history of any Russian colonization in
No,
Africa.
they weren't
The-
successful. Let me
no,
find
but
it for
there
you.
is no history of any attempts in Africa because Russia
No,
was
me find it
only.
for you. Me find it for you.
Well, on man, fine it. But me, I tell you, say, there was no interest of Russia in Africa at the time because what's this, when the scramble for Africa took place, everybody don't take a piece of Africa already. So Russia was more focused on Southeast Asia, places like Manchuria and them places there.
Remember, I know. See, all right. So here's the thing, you know, how
Yeah,
Russia
but
tried to
Russia
colonize
never
Africa and
made any
failed.
attempts. Russia
No,
never
man.
made any attempts like that.
Here's an article here. How Russia tried to colonize Africa and failed. Um, 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 I mean, we can't read it up for the sake of the conversation we're having right now. I'm gonna share it with
Right,
you.
but the thing is now, that article, right, would have to be like a peer-reviewed article and not just somebody's opinion because we are looking at the history. We are talking about the history where
No,
we
no,
see and where we know.
no, man. So Lana, as me saying, this is not the first time that I've looked into this, you know, and there are books that talk about it, you know. But for the sake of this conversation we have, there's no sense in getting into that right now.
Yeah, because what's this, What's this, Remember, right? Russia, Russia has a border with Afghanistan. Russia has a border with with Iran. Those are the countries. As a matter of fact, remember, during World War II, when Roosevelt and Stalin and Churchill met, they met in Yalta. That was modern day Iran. Russia's interest and focus was really in those regions, the Persian regions, because they did have the island and something there, and Southeast Asia. Russia never focused on Africa. As a matter of fact, Lalibela, Russia was the one who assisted all the African liberation struggles. So,
No,
so,
no, no,
so, so me can't look,
hold
hold
on,
on,
hold on, hold on, hold
Lalibela,
on,
hold
hold
on,
on.
Lalibela, what me I say? Me can't look on one possibility when Russia wanted to colonize Africa and look on everything that Russia do. For Nelson Mandela them, for over Angola, for Mozambique, for Thomas Sankara them and Lumumba them, everybody.
But you're
Even
not.
even Menelik as well.
So hold on, brother. You're not paying attention to the demarcation, though. Russia's imperialistic aspirations ended with the Tsarist Russia, and that's what I was saying to you, right?
Right,
Even this
when was the Tsarist Russian rule ended?
1917.
Right,
So may I
right.
say, so hold on. The carving up of Africa was way before that, you know. See?
Yes, because remember the carving up of Africa was really what was left. So remember said the Berlin Conference of 1885 was
84 into
when
85.
right,
84 into
right,
85, right?
right. I'm saying that conference was when them decided what was left of Africa. So whichever country that wasn't quote unquote colonized them, colonize it. But the
So hold
thing
on
is
now.
this: Russia wasn't a part of that.
So hold
And
on
that
now.
me I talk about.
Hold on now. Germany was supposed to get the largest pie in Africa, you know, seeing, and clearly that didn't work out, right?
Right, because they control Namibia and they
So,
actually wanted to even buy the Congo from Belgium.
that's all they got, seeing. But there's a reason why the Berlin Conference took place in Germany because Ber- Germany was bent on really going to Africa proper. And when it was all said and done, it was largely the Portuguese, the French, and the British who
Right,
controlled
but
Africa.
yeah, but the conversation about Russia now, right? About Russia having imperial ambitions or imperialist ambitions in Africa. Yeah, yeah, I would definitely challenge that argument because based on the history of the African countries, Russia never won. Russia never take over an African country, never
Yeah,
colonize an African country, never invade an African country. So you see the supposition or the hypothetical thing.
no,
You
no,
understand
it's
me?
no,
I
no,
say you
no,
have a
brother. No,
problem with
no, hold on,
that.
hold on, hold on, hold on. It's not hypothetical. You're just not familiar with it. It's fine. It's not hypothetical, though,
No,
right?
but what I'm saying, Lalibela, right? That argument that Russia had imperialist agenda or in terms of say trying to colonize Africa or whatever. Yes, if someone has that argument, present it and show the
Right,
evidence
right,
because
right. And
there is no African country that one Russia tried to invade,
no,
two Russia colonized. As a matter of fact, even during the Battle of Adwa with Menelik, Russia supplied Ethiopia with arms.
so hold on now. Russia truly did not colonize any country. But to say that Russia didn't make any attempt to colonize, that's a whole different argument. But
No, I'm
again,
talking about Africa. Africa,
no,
me I talk about.
I'm talking about Africa. I'm talking about
Right,
Africa, right? I'm talking
right,
about Africa. But
right,
hear me out, you know, there's no sense in us debating what I am talking about here based on what me I say versus that you haven't got a chance to look at it. So we can revisit this, you know. Seeing and then of course Russia did help all these countries get their independence in Africa. But you
right,
have to understand that that was a whole different Russia. That was a Russia after two revolutions.
right,
See?
right, 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 right.
But Tsarist Russia had a total different posturing.
Yeah, because but Tsarist Russia expansion led them to the war with Japan in 1908
Yeah,
because
what
their
that's
focus was on Southeast Asia and also the border with Afghanistan and Iran and them place there. That was where their focus is, where their borders were. That is where they try to do the expansions.
no no
The Georgian region, Ukraine with the Crimea. That is where Russia really took over and control during time of imperialism
after
and
Napoleon,
parts of Manchuria and places like that.
after Napoleon, right? Where Russia was able to walk straight through, where the French were able to walk straight through into Russia, similar to what transpired with World War II with the Germans.
Right,
The Russia after every time Russia was invaded is because of their porous borders, right?
right,
And this is why they've always sought to influence the nations around them. And in some extent, they went beyond influencing to actually incorporating these people under the USSR,
right,
right?
right. I agree with that. And that's why I said the Crimea, Ukraine, modern day
Right,
Georgia, they were parts of Iran, parts of the Ossetia, parts of the Caucasus region, Chechnya, all those regions. You get what I'm saying? And
right.
then now, when it comes on to Manchuria and China, that is where their intention of expansion, was focused. Russia never really a focus on Africa per se, but as you said, if anyone wants to present that argument, yeah, we can always have the conversation there. But
Yeah,
based
man.
on the history of Russia and its expansion, it was all about that region, the Crimea, Ukraine, modern day
It was
Iran,
largely
modern
about,
day
but
Georgia. Right there,
it,
so
it,
I this of them there, the Caucasus region, I right there. So as a matter of fact,
right.
even Turkey, even Russia and Turkey fight war already too
Yeah,
because
man.
the
But
Russians wanted to expand up to the Caucasus region and parts of Turkey too. and in a
Right.
Manchuria region. So that was where their imperialist ambitions were focused on.
Right. So let me say, I'm gonna share multiple sources with you, and
Yeah,
then
man.
you can
Yeah,
and then we
man.
can revisit
Nothing
this.
wrong still, man. Nothing wrong. But
Yeah,
as me I
yeah,
say
man.
still, you see people, it's because the British and the Americans, them, and the West, you get me, I say they are all imperialists. People, you actually have the anti-Russia narrative as well. Because, and it even dovetails into the reasoning where Truth Hurts while we deal with France and these West African states were cut ties through coups and whatever. You get what me I say?
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna go
When
with
you
that.
look at,
And
yeah, got you.
me, yo, I personally do not have any issue with anything that Russia has done as far as preventing Ukraine from joining NATO. See?
Right,
I have no problem with that. Russia has a right, similar to the Monroe Doctrine here. Russia has a similar doctrine to, brother. See? They have a right to ensure that anything within the periphery is not against them.
right. Because what is Lali Bella, remember, when the US created NATO, it was a counterweight to Russia, right? So what
Right?
did Russia did? Russia merged all the Baltic states, right? Along
Yep.
with Poland too.
Yep.
Even Ukraine was part of it too.
Yeah, man,
Um,
definitely. Definitely.
you understand me? I say, and
Definitely.
then they actually have what them call them again, man. Them actually have a name just like NATO too, man. Then they have a name, man. I soon tell you the name, but it was like about 7 or 6 European countries, include Poland, Russia,
Me
Ukraine
know
was
it.
a
Me
part
know
of
it.
it too.
Me know
Good.
it.
They formed they formed their own alliance for their own defense because NATO was a defense alliance pack. Right? So
Yeah,
what's
man.
this now, When Russia farmed for them one thing too, and Poland was involved, right? Russia and NATO, right, which was Stalin and NATO, them signed the agreement. And part of the agreement was that there would have been no eastward expansion in a no country where border with Russia. That's
No,
what
no,
they
no,
said,
no, 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 no. The pack we're talking about, that was in the 90s after the fall of the Soviet
No,
Union.
no, no. Me not talk about that one there. No, no, no. Me not talk about that. Me not talk about the 1991 when after the fall with that was Yeltsin. Is either Yeltsin or
Before
Gorbachev
Nelson,
and
Gorbachev,
I think Bill Clinton or George Bush Senior, one of them. Because George
right?
Bush Senior was that time there. Both of
So,
them. But remember say, when NATO did farm, and then when Stalin see what go on, say, yo, them farm NATO. Because remember, say, Russia did control East Germany, not true? Right?
correct.
And Russia did control Poland, and Russia did control, certain parts of Eastern Europe. The Eastern Europe block, correct. The
After
Eastern
World War
Europe
Two,
block.
after World War
Right.
Two,
Right, after World War II and then
the
formed NATO.
Soviet bloc,
The Soviet bloc, correct.
right?
Now, what I'm saying now, they had agreements even prior to 1990 that they signed in 1949 too.
Okay,
To say, well, what's this now? All right, no expansion. So here we go on. Uno stay over there, we stay over there. In 1990 now, when Bush and I think Bush and Gorbachev or Bill Clinton and Gorbachev or Yeltsin, them four there, right? When them signed the agreement, when them had dissolved the USSR, 1989, 1990, part of the agreement was there will be no eastward expansion where you will have NATO countries and Russia border. That's the
yeah,
problem,
I think that was the Minsk agreement, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Let me see. The Minsk agreement. No. The Minsk agreement, is a recent agreement.
No, man.
That was
So
in
you have one in 1991, the Minsk agreement,
oh, okay, but you
December
actually
30,
have
1991. Let me see it
okay,
now.
cool. And you have one recent one now when Ukraine
Yeah,
recently. You understand me? I say, but
yeah.
but the Minsk agreement was, and with NATO and Russia was that there will be no eastward expansion. So what's this now? No country where border with Russia can become a NATO member. That was part of the agreement. So when Zelensky was pushing the envelope by wanting to become a part of NATO, that's a red line for Russia. You understand me? I say, and America know say they gave Russia that promise. They said no eastward expansion and then double cross Russia. So Putin got upset and said, all right, what's this now? Uno double cross me. Uno pushed out Viktor Yanukovych in the 2008 revolution, right? Them push him out because he was what? Pro-Russia. And as long as he was pro-Russia as Ukraine president, there could have been no NATO in a Ukraine. What them do? Them call it the Orange Revolution and push out Viktor Yanukovych and put in and install them own American puppets who start to entertain the idea of Ukraine being a member of NATO until them put in Zelensky. And him a push the idea. So at that push, Russia now if he say no, that's a red line.
This is why
And you
America.
can't blame Russia.
No, you have a brother named John Mearsheimer, right?
Right.
I think he's a preeminent thinker when it comes to international relations. And your brother, I'm buying books, I'm watch any lecture I have,
Right.
and he's spot on when it comes to this. And I am of the view, brother, I feel bad for any individual who died because of war.
Right.
But Ukraine is dead wrong with what they were doing. And not even Ukraine, is that they were using Ukraine as a pawn.
All right, that's correct. But that is correct. But that is Ukraine is a proxy right now, and that's the reason why down at Ukraine now, the US just use Ukraine as a proxy to try to weaken Russia. Yeah, and you know, they them put all the sanctions on Russia, and everybody against Russia now. You have the whole of NATO, right? Where are train Ukraine and arm Ukrainians. You have NATO soldiers down at Ukraine a fight. So it's more like a World War III going down there, nobody not talk about it. But
yeah, man, and guess what?
Story short, Putin did make them know, say, yeah, man, if Ukraine are tied with the idea of becoming a member of NATO, that means American nukes will be on Ukrainian soil, which is a threat to the Russian homeland.
That's check the levels, right? Check the levels, right? Russia being distracted in Ukraine. Say that were to go for 3-4 more years. Russia is distracted in that regard. It make it less likely for Russia to focus on updating its technology as far as weaponry and so forth. So you see, if there were to be a world war in the next 2-3 years, it won't be a good look for Russia,
Why?
Because Russia for the past couple of years, because of the sanctions and so forth, hasn't been able to get access to certain technology that they would need to keep their equipment current.
Yeah, but remember, remember that Russia does not use American equipment.
No, they do not use American equipment, but the chipset. Hold on, the chipsets. That's one of the issues that Russia has,
Yeah, but remember, say Russia, I make them own a chipset. Remember, say Russia, Putin make sure position Russia because him see it coming, Putin make sure.
Right, but guess what?
Russia where it's independent from the West, brother.
But this is why.
Now work.
No, hold on. A lot of the sanctions were targeted against certain technology that Russia still need, and certain companies that Russia was working with. So yes, they've insulated themselves to the extent that they can. They've fortified themselves to the extent that they can.
Right.
But they're still exposed when it comes to certain cutting-edge technology. And
like what now?
No, like maybe I have to go back and look and see the sanctions, the targeted sanctions that the Americans had against certain chips and certain technology that Russia was getting from the West.
But when it comes on to military technology, Russia are the first to have. Russia is the first country to actually have certain missiles that America don't have yet.
Right.
Russia have developed hypersonic missiles that are go beyond Mach 3.
Right, which I understand, right? That's just one thing, right?
America still not have them technology there. What I'm saying
but guess what?
Russia was smart enough, brother, to position themselves where they are not dependent on no country at all.
So, Lana, at that point, no, every country is interdependent when it comes to technology.
No, I'm talking like the West, depending on the West for technology.
Even the West, they were still dependent on the West when it comes to certain technology. And if not the West, right? Here's what happened. They would have gotten certain technology, certain chipsets from countries, from like say Israel, right? Or even China. And now Israel is no longer selling any of that technology to Russia, right? You have to understand, right? There are some things that Russia would get, Israel would get from Russia, and then there are certain things that Russia would get from Israel. That's how they have the infrastructure, the networking, see? And Russia has been distracted, trying to keep their economy afloat and focusing longer than they should have when it comes to Ukraine. So just like America in 1967, right? Caught up in Vietnam, America couldn't participate in Egypt to the extent that they wanted and so forth, I think it was Egypt, right? I think it was Egypt.
Well, what's this, you know? What's this, you know?
Yeah, it was Egypt.
1967, right? All right. Because they were so caught up with Vietnam. It's not like say them did really want to get caught up with Egypt like that. The only reason why was because you know or it go Israel was involved. You get what me I
No,
say?
no, no,
But the
no,
thing with
no.
Egypt, no, what I'm saying is the 1967 when it comes on to 1967 was actually Al Nasser same way, right?
Yeah,
Yes, it was
it
Al
was. It
Nasser.
was not. It was not.
Yes, in 67. It was Sidat in 73. No, I'm saying 67 with Al Nasser. Um are you talking about the war with Israel, the 6 day war? Or are you talking about the Suez Canal crisis? Which one?
Right.
No, well, 67 would have been the war with Israel, the 6 day war. So
So what happened, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Suez Canal crisis, right?
Yeah, that would have been 1950. 50
56,
what?
56,
56. Yeah,
56,
right.
56, right?
Right.
But America, what America did then actually, let me restate that, right? America wasn't able to respond to Egypt the way they wanted to, and they gestured to Israel, and Israel was willing. And it was then that Israel went in and did what they did because Eisenhower wasn't receptive to Israel, right? Who was the first president that was perfect, was actually okay with Israel? I can't remember the.
The first one, you know, the first one would have actually been in all right. What's it, you know, in the 50s, you know, because remember said Dwight
That's
D
Truman, right?
Eisenhower became
As,
no. Remember said Truman was right after World War II, 1944, 45 after Roosevelt. It was Truman, and after Truman, it was
what is that?
Eisenhower. It was Eisenhower. You get what me I say? But the thing with this now, you know, is that they had a good relationship with Israel in the 1950s. You get what me I say? But at the same time, they were also mindful of actually getting involved over Egypt there. So even the Suez Canal crisis, it was more the British and the French were so highly involved along with the Israelis. The Americans and they only have to go and watch what go on. And that's the
Right.
reason why it even goes back to the 1967 Six-Day War with
So,
Israel and Egypt and the USS Liberty. When nobody not talk about.
so
Remember that
no.
ship there, that spy ship
So
there? That was a spy ship where America did have near the Mediterranean, near Egypt side there, and listen and I watch everything what go on with the war. And what Israel do? Israel make sure bomb an American vessel and the American government cover that up. And you don't really hear nothing more about the USSS Liberty 1967. So what me
so
I
hold
say
on.
is
No?
this now. America never really want to get involved militarily, but they wanted to have eyes and ears as to what was going on over there. So because what's this? Remember, say the Suez Canal was beneficial to American interests as well.
Yeah,
You
man.
understand what I say?
And based on what the historian put forward, right?
Yeah.
America was bogged down in Vietnam, right? And that's why it was Israel, France, and Britain that aligned against Egypt, and not
But the
America
thing
per
is
se.
this, you know. But watch this, you know. Watch this, you know, Lalibela. America got into Vietnam 1965. You get me, I
Hold
say?
on, no, hold on. Let me tell you where America
America
was.
got into Vietnam. As a
Let me
matter
get
of fact,
this.
America got into Vietnam seriously 1968 until 1975. 7 years them, but it was more like 65. Them start to send forces down there, not a lot. Them did I send forces down
No,
there for go train the South
no.
Vietnamese.
So,
They,
so, so, so
but
all right. So, hold on.
1967 they
No.
were not bobbed down, so to speak.
Hold on. Sorry. Let me gather my thoughts. Here's what really transpired. America saw what Israel did in 56, right?
Right.
America saw what Israel did in 56 and was so impressed with what they did.
Well, Lalibela, as a matter of fact, America was angry with Israel for what they did.
No,
Be-
hold on. Hold on.
They were because as a matter
No.
of fact,
The
no,
official,
I'm just saying that's what
the
happened.
government was angry, brother,
Yes,
not the military.
then the America we attack the government we
No,
attack, brother.
no. So you see, diplomatically, when America is not just like with Israel, you will have the government officially not on board with certain things. However, they look to see what transpired from a military perspective, right?
Yes, but remember the military can't act without the government.
No,
And
no,
if
hold on,
if
hold on,
if the government don't approve of it, the military can't go do nothing.
no,
So
hold
if the
on,
government control the military,
but that's exactly how it works, right? On the surface, the government will, just like for example, Joe Biden just now is saying that he wants the same for Palestine as he wants for Israel. But we know for a fact that materially that's not what's taking place. So you
right?
always have the double speak where the government have an official position, but their true position oftentimes is different from the official position,
I
right?
agree with you, but in the context of the Suez Canal crisis, the Americans made it be known to Israel that they were very upset. The reason being, Israel did not even advise them that they were gonna do what
Right,
they did.
right. But
Right?
nonetheless,
Britain or France, Britain or France did hide it, and Israel did hide it too. When the Americans found out what happened,
remember,
they
see them
were
stand
upset
down.
with
Them
Israel.
eventually stood down, When the officials stood down, right? The officials stood down, right? But the Americans were still nonetheless impressed with what Israel did. This,
I will say, all right, from that perspective, but from a government perspective, then they thought
yes,
that they were double crossed
of
because
course.
they were
And
not informed, and it's like they were blindsided. You
and they
get
were
what me I
very
say?
vocal about it. They were very vocal
Right,
about it, like
right,
what you
right,
said.
right.
But their takeaway nonetheless was like, yo, this new chip on this new guy on the block is quite useful. See? Because America really officially, because remember in the early years, and the reason why the Soviets voted for the state of Israel is because of Israel's socialist posturing, right?
Well,
And
well, well, well. Remember saying, most of the Jews in Europe were in Russia as well. The biggest migration of Jews into Israel or
right,
Palestine is from Russia.
right. 'Cause
We
even
have a lot
Netanyahu,
of Russian Jews. Them have
right,
a lot of influence.
right, and even Netanyahu, and it's so funny, right? Because the Jews were like, "Yo, we suffered through so many pogroms, so many
Right.
persecutions in Russia," and what they're saying is that how then is it that the ambassador for the USSR, for the Soviet Union in UN, no, not UN, League of, no, that was UN at the time, yeah, in UN was talking so much like a Zionist.
Right.
But it's because they had strategic interests, and
Right.
Russia and Israel was a proper socialist country for a long time. And if you even listen to Netanyahu, he'll tell you that even him, when he came in his first term, he was one who was to shift Israel from his socialist policies.
Right.
And this is why you have so many Israelis living off welfare.
Right.
See,
Right. Right.
can,
Right. Right.
can, can you see what them say? Their argument is you snooze if you snooze, you lose as it relates
Right.
to occupying certain areas. See?
Right.
And I heard this Israeli virgin from this Jewish virgin from Brooklyn say, "Yo, we have to hold on to these homes so that in the future, if there are any peace deals, they will remain in the hands of Jews."
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that is the strategy you have. So it's like, yeah, it's so funny. You have so many Jews in America who are down on them luck, brother, and
Right.
them got Israel on welfare and have Arabs get kicked out of their homes and so forth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's unfortunate. That's right.
it is crazy. But yo, you have some next topic. You know what? Touch on the next topic. Them as far as we don't know where you try to go as far as Armageddon.
You know, say, yeah, man. If you want to touch
Uh,
on the whole Armageddon thing, I would touch on it because what's this, Remember, it was always like a biblical concept, right?
yeah,
Well, it was not always a biblical concept, but a lot of people who hear about Armageddon, them will say, oh, when them hear that word, it's like them hear about the Bible, and it's a last days where the forces of God and the forces of evil are gonna meet up at one place and this and that. You get what me I said? That was the concept. So I don't know if you want to expound on it, but yeah, I have my take on it as well.
yeah, man. I mean, it's large. Actually, I'm more even intrigued by the dancehall in regression type
Yeah,
thing.
well, the problem I forgot to do that next reasoning. Me no know, but all right. But
Yeah,
the Armageddon reasoning, right? Let me tell you why I want to talk about it because right now in a Palestine, right, Christians really believe say, all right, this so, right, the whole Armageddon are gonna take place.
yeah, man.
You
So,
understand me? I say
yeah,
Christians believe that. Even Jews, even in Judaism, right? Them actually have the concept there in the I think it's the
all
Torah.
three of them, all three of them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So them you are gonna have a big battle, right? That's how it's why you have the Al Aqsa Mass and you have a Temple Mount and all them sitting there. One big fight are going right there. So even right now, what's going on in Palestine, a lot of believers considered um, this conflict to be the potential for a Armageddon. But you see, where people don't realize, say, that the place when they call Armageddon, or the thing when they call Armageddon, is actually in reference to a historical place. You
Right,
understand me? I say,
right.
and it's a place when named Megiddo, which means the mountain of Megiddo, and it goes back to the Egyptians under Thutmose III. Because remember, Thutmose III was fighting to protect the Egyptian empire from the invaders. And there was the king of Kadesh, which is modern day Canaan and Syria and Lebanon. Him actually team up with about 6 or 7 more kingdoms, and they went to fight against Thutmose III. And that was when he defeated them at Armageddon. You get what me I say? So it was the Egyptian Thutmose III who defeated, because right after Queen Hatshepsut, after she died, because remember she wanted the few she wanted the queens who were pharaohs. You get me? I said the female pharaohs them.
Same, same.
After her, yeah, that was actually his great grandmother. Hatshepsut was his great grandmother. So Thutmose the third is the one who defeated the king of Kadesh and the rest of the armies at Megiddo. And they call it the Battle of Megiddo. And he slaughtered them, right? Because at that time, all of that region was paying tributary to Egypt. And the king of Kadesh decides that him go rebel against Egyptian rule, right? And him form an alliance with some more kings in other region, the Mitanni, which is like modern day Turkey, and places like Syria and whatever. The whole of them kingdoms there line up with the king of Kadesh and decide that them go war with Thutmose the third. And that was when, no, I'm sorry, when I say Thutmose, Ramses the third, Ramses the third, I'm sorry, Ramses the third, Ursama Atra, set up in Ramesu Mary Amen. Him, or them call him Ramses, he was the one who who went and war with them and beat them up at Armageddon, the mountain of Megiddo. That's historical reference where anybody can go look up right now. So when we hear about Armageddon, that was actually an historical event that took place.
I
And them
agree.
take it and put it in the Bible, in the book of Revelation and one bag of sitting. And we just get scared. And we see Bruce Willis then coming and like a fool movie when they call Armageddon. And we just lose it like that, where when we hear Armageddon, it carries a biblical connotation of our last day, big war, destruction of the forces of good versus evil, blah, blah, blah. But it was actually an historical event. And them
But
kind of twist it up now to make we feel like say it's a coming event when that go on long time. And
yeah,
it was Ramses the third who
but you see,
deal with them wicked. And because him deal them wicked, them just write that. Fi say, boy, yeah, man, we must expect a Armageddon. No Armageddon now come.
but
Listen
you
me,
see this, but you,
it simply means mountain of Megiddo. Har means mountain, and Megiddo is a place.
but
Historical event.
so here's the thing though, right? Even though if you're not subscribed to religion, you see it as
Right,
a farce, right? The problem is that the religious fanatics believe in it,
right,
and for the fact that they believe in it, it actually inform all of their actions, right? And like for example, for the longest time, even before there was an Israel, Christians always wanted to blow up the Temple Mount. See?
right,
Because they, and like for example, more time I listen to a certain Jewish man talk and them can't pray, them can't wait for Armageddon, see? Them
right,
can't wait because all of the, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, it's good for them.
right,
So it's like, it's a weird thing. It's no different, which is so funny. It is almost analogous to so-called, we call them suicide bombers, right?
right,
Christians or Jews are so bent on triggering the war so that end times can come. See?
right,
Eschatology.
right,
They're so bent on it, which is a baffling thing. And everything that Christians have done by way of supporting Israel is to actually bring forward a battle in that general area. And look at you and I now. We can look at it and say, yo, chances are, there will be a war, but it's not because of what was defined in the Bible.
Right,
It's a
right, nothing like that.
function of misguided people, right? Misguided
Right, because
people,
right now what's going on over there is really Muslims versus Jews. That's what it is. You understand what
yeah.
I say? And people might say, "Oh, it's not a religious war." Yet, yes, it is a religious war because remember when the Gaza man them invade over Israel, what them they call it again, Lalibela?
Wh- What you mean? You mean the other day?
Recently, the October 7th invasion. Yeah, when they go over Israel, what they call it?
Actually, I don't know. I didn't hear what the Hamas people refer to that as.
All right, them call it Operation Al Aqsa Flood.
Oh yeah, you're right. I heard that. I heard that.
Yes. And when you hear about Al Aqsa, you know when they matter about the Al Aqsa Mass. Because
Right,
they were very upset at the way the Israeli people were quote unquote encroaching on the Al Aqsa Mass. So
right.
it is a religious thing. You
I
understand
know.
what I say?
I listen. There is a religious component to it, no doubt about it. But I don't think the bulk of this thing is religious
But what's this
because
Lalibela? When it come on to Netanyahu, right? He is a what? Far right extremist.
no. But he's not religious though.
Where you say? Where you say?
He
Where you say?
aligns himself with he aligned himself with the religious
Exactly.
right.
But hold on now. But remember, his party, right? What's the name of his party?
Look at party.
Right. And Likud have always been far right, religious.
No, but not him though. See, that's the thing,
But remember saying no, brother. A far right team there, That's why the center left that had power recently was who? The Benny Gantz.
Benjamin, yeah,
And the next one there, when the next one when him and he was prime minister, man. And then did have the power sharing deal with him and the Benny Gantz. He was the one that Netanyahu replaced. I don't remember his name, but if I remember, I'll say it. What I'm saying is this: Likud traditionally has been a far right, right, and them even embrace the ultra orthodox. That's why now they merge with Ben Gavir, who is an extremist far right religious fanatic. So the
so
entire
for the,
coalition with Netanyahu farm is a religious one, and he is far right. So
but he had
him
no
is all
he had no choice what to do with, else he would be
no.
prime
But what's
minister.
this? What's this? Last year, him start the nation state law where what Israel is the homeland of the Jewish people. So that's
But
based on religion as well too.
no. So he's trying to placate them, right? And he's always trying to placate them, But what I'm saying is that he himself is not a religious man. See,
Well,
I'm
well,
not dispute.
I'm well. I will not. I'm gonna say he's not that a religious extremist. Just like how the brethren where did assassinate Yitzhak Rabin in the 1990, right? He was a far right religious extremist. I'm not gonna say Netanyahu was a far right like that, but I'm saying the people them who him have in a him cabinet are far right religious extremists, and they are there
Yes.
to push his minister, his interior minister, or minister of national security, whatever. He is a far right
No, me agree.
extremist. And
No, me
that's the
agree with all of
reason
that.
why. That's
Me
the
agree with
reason
that.
why since they came into power, there have been more settler expansions going on.
Yep.
And that's
Remember,
based on religion again too. Where them have said
remember,
this land, I feed them own, and a them fi control it and take it over.
remember in the 90s, the Lookid party didn't support what Yitzhak Rabin was doing, right?
Right,
They weren't in support of it.
right,
And you're correct. When it comes to radical settler expansions, Netanyahu Netanyahu was the man when it comes to that, right? That's his legacy,
right,
and he's and because he's so far right, what I mean, moderate the moderate parties are the parties on the left never would have made him become prime minister. So
right,
he figured, yo, I got to align with anybody on the right,
right,
anybody
right,
on the
right,
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 and that's what he's been doing. So he's beholden to them, right?
right.
And he's okay, and he's perfectly okay with 'cause, yo, see the other day the man make reference to prophecy and so forth, see, because he know exactly who he's appealing to.
Right, right,
Uh,
right. Hey, Lolly, but Mr. Nicky really asked my dancer reasoning, So if he say
you
if
see
he
it?
just touch my dancer reasoning still, but just to close out the
Yeah.
whole topic about Armageddon is not an event that is prophesied, is not an event that will occur. It's an historical event that has occurred between, Ramses the Third and
And was appropriated in the Bible.
right,
Real talk.
right.
I
So
agree with you.
this the same people them where we call the in a Canaan or Palestine or Lebanon them region there. Yeah man, the Egyptian Pharaoh Ramses the Third defeated them. One big mighty army. Him versus about 6 different kingdoms. And him slaughter them. They call it the Battle of Kodesh because it was the king of Kodesh that actually instigated it. So when we hear about Armageddon, don't get too worried or flustered about the last day and this and that. That is
So,
an
no, but
historical event. Anyone can go and do some research on. You get what me I say?
but
Yeah,
we
so
but we
don't
not
be too
subscribe to
flustered
it.
by
We not
that.
subscribe to yeah, we not subscribe to it, period, you know. The
Right,
problem is that the stakeholders who are there believe in it,
right,
and it's kind of weird. Just like, for example, right, with the formation of Israel and a whole bunch of stuff, people are saying, yo, this is pointing to this and this pointing to that, which is all farce from my perspective. But the believers, you can't tell them nothing.
right. Don't quote me verbatim. Is he that Thutmose? Is he that Thutmose the third? Because I know say Ramses did kick out the Hyksos. The
Hmm.
Hyksos were actually the invaders from modern day Turkey. So I know say
Hmm.
Ramses did kick them out, the Hyksos, and I saw them write one story about the Exodus. You get what I mean? I
Yep.
said that was the
And
only quote
and
unquote Exodus was when the Hyksos were kicked out of Egypt because they control the north, but Ramses then they control the south, so them couldn't dominate the whole of Egypt like that because
and that's
it
why
go you have the north and south. So Ramses he kicked them out, but it was Thutmose the third, right, at the Battle of Kodesh with yeah man, when him actually defeat the whole them kingdoms there, and they call it Armageddon, which is the
right.
mountain of Megiddo.
So
Yes,
so
so when it
so
comes down to Ramses, it was him that expelled the Hyksos, and then now them put it in the Bible and talk about the Exodus.
right. So
Because the
relative to what
only
you said about
movement of people, the only movement of people that flee Egypt was the Hyksos,
right
who were
and
the invaders.
right. So that's why some people, especially in the Hebrew Israelite store in the Hebrew Israelite world,
Right.
point to the Hyksos as being the Jews.
Right,
See,
and that's not true because the Hyksos are all the way up in Turkey.
right? But a lot
That's
that
where they came from. That's where they came from, and that's historical. So them can't say Jews because you never have no Jews them time there.
right.
You never have
So
no
there were
Jews
no
them
Jews
time
in it,
there.
right? But they're saying that the Hyksos are one and the same as the Jews
No,
because
and they are
they
not.
but you know why them do that, right? Because the
Yeah,
documentation
because
pertains
them
to the
them want to
Hyksos.
tie in. Them want to tie in
Right.
the whole Exodus story because once
Exactly.
them can tie that in, then
Exactly.
them can
Ex-
legitimize the Exodus story.
exactly.
Right. But
And
but
and
but I'm
right.
I'm sorry if it burst them bubble, but them can't cross the water with the Exodus story there. You get what me I
Them,
say?
but
But
them try
yeah,
though.
we can left that now and just talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
some
yeah, yeah, yeah.
dancehall for real
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
we
Yeah.
definitely want to talk about if you think or any ones and ones think that dancehall is in a state of regression, and when we say regression, I'm and say boy dancehall stagnant or 90s, 2000 dancehall better than what I go on now. Nothing on to go on the dancehall. Right now, me not see no whole heap of hit songs that dominate the space either. You understand what I say?
So I
Me see two song we crossover. I thought that Tyrant would have even crossed it too. I am very surprised this is a Tyrant never crossed it like that. Not so very surprised, but I understand why. Because when it come on to crossover songs, no only a gunman song not really cross like that. With Byron Taliban now, me feel say the melody and the whole that song there, yeah, that song they can cross it. But Tyrant, me no know why. Because if he's a Tyrant, should not even cross it. The fact say, is a big label, I push it. You get what me
so
I said? That's surprising to me. Me don't know what you think about that.
so Tyrant to me is the best made dancehall track since Cartel do that song there. What I'm call it?
So,
Mind for
Fever?
money and money. No fever, mind for money and money for my mind.
Oh,
That's
really?
how far that's how far me go with it. That's just my perspective, right? Tyrant is a very good tune. However,
Mm.
however, I think Massacre, as what you guys discussed so many times, he just doesn't have the kind of fan base or exposure wherein that's not a song that would translate just like that, but it's a very good song.
Yeah,
It's
but
it's
if you
it,
look like if you look at crossover songs, right? Because if you're gonna say Massacre might not have the fan base like that, Remember saying his 438 did very well, but it was more like base market. You get what I say? More like the people them, without the Jamaicans them, whether them the North America, Canada, England, wherever, yeah, them support the music. But when you look on Drift and you look on Taliban's and you look on Tyrant, those were the three songs when me I say, yeah man, them three songs are three big songs. And Tyrant was the first one out, the blacks. And Drift
so,
and Taliban come and crossover now, and Tyrant just not crossover at all. I mean, so wait, why? And the three of them and them signed to three big label.
so think about Drift, right? Drift,
Right.
the label, and what my lady a Jamaican name who I manage,
Yeah, man. You know
Sharon,
your time, man. Bertman,
Sharon Burke,
Sharon Bertman.
Sharon
Yeah,
Burke, right?
right.
She would have been able to direct that song in addition to what the label is doing, right? And Taliban just took off of his own volition. See? Massacre work on a new album right now, see?
Right.
And I think it is then that they're gonna do a meaningful push.
But,
Tyrant was a properly made product as a
right.
feeler, in my opinion. And if them can duplicate that, which we're gonna know is a hard thing.
Right, but that's the problem now, Lalibela, because
Yeah.
right now, him have a album to release soon, right? Whether it might be next month or December, whatever, based on when me are here. Now, when me I say no, you are put out an album, you sign to a big label, right? Now, which song you have as the lead out song? Because what's this, brother? You can't go at and then go cool and put out the album. It not go work, so brother. So what's this now? All right, which lead out song you have? A man I go say, boy, them have Tyrant and them have Pieces. Pieces was from about February. Tyrant was what? Probably about what? I think about April or whatever. So when me I say no, we in a November pretty much, brother. Massacre no drop no more song, right? The only conversation with Massacre really is when the vloggers them a talk about him and when the label link him up with certain interviews. So music-wise, from the year start, I really two song alone. Now, having an album for drop, brother, like you need to warm up the conversation with some music. At least
I
drop
know,
one song out there.
yeah.
Get something active, relevant, brother. Because if you put out one album, you can't call it so. And right now, Tyrant, I think Tyrant fizz out. Me think it fizz out because the fact say Drift and Taliban gone left it. It look like it fizz out to me. So when me
No,
I say no, what him a go have? Where Massacre go have now for actually push the album? That's the question.
and we don't know it, right? But I do agree with your assessment that them other two tracks there,
Right.
Runway Gone left it. But for your overall question, I truly believe the music is in decline, has been in decline for a very long time. And you, my view might be controversial, seeing.
Right.
I think one of the biggest problems that dancehall had, especially under Cartel's reign, right,
Right.
was the fact that Cartel wasn't able to travel. And he was so big and he was unavoidable. He was dancehall, see?
Right.
But he couldn't move. So everyone had to move in his direction versus him going out there and marketing and pushing the industry, pushing the music, see?
Right.
And I think that dancehall shrank significantly under Cartel because of those reasons. His wings
Word.
were clipped. And
Word.
and it's like we haven't. I mean, my talk significantly, dancehall shrinks significantly, because even Cartel in and of himself, right? He has no chart success, none of his albums.
Oh, you're talking about like when him in Prime and Free I wrote and something like that.
At any point in time, none of his albums has ever done well.
Man. I mean, him still do. I mean, base market wise, that going.
Yeah, but
Him do reasonable numbers, but crossover wise, a person would say, boy, a fever. You get what me I say, and me can't use that one song alone for judge Cartel
yeah,
career. Where every time
right,
I talk about Cartel,
for,
yo,
right,
fever, fever, fever.
exactly.
No, you get what me I say.
Exactly.
But
See,
looking at dancehall now, do a Lalibella, and Mrs. Subi there, and you don't know it, go pass in my team shortly, but looking at dancehall now, right? Um, me no really see dancehall dominate the space like that. Because even
I agree.
drift have the crossover feel. You get what me I say? The younger youths them more dominate the space like say if you look on a craft, you look on Najiri, Raja Wild, you know, Skeng them. You get what me I say? Valiant them. And them little youth they really keep the ground busy. Normally in a dance hall, even in Mr. Vegas time, you have all 4, 5, 6 man like everybody a drop it song. Me not really say no it song because even the song them when them youth a drop. Them song they are good songs local market wise. Them song they can't
That's
cross it. Me
and
not
that's
see
why I'm.
none Nigeri. Me not see none Nigeri song where we say oh it can cross over. Me not see no Raja Wild where say it can
All
cross
right.
over. You understand what me I say?
Yeah.
So I
So,
really
so I
that's
say
what me I
something to you.
talk
See,
about.
this is something to you. See, it's when Shabba they do the interview in the early 90s.
Right,
What caused him forget, you know what I mean, for lack of a better word, disbarred.
right,
It's so funny. I see an interview with Massacre earlier this week, right?
right,
And after them introduced Massacre, I hear him say genocide on Fox News in New York, right?
right,
And I'm here wondering if he should have. Clearly, we understand what genocide means from Massacre's perspective,
right,
but I'm wondering if, especially in light of what's going on in Palestine and how people might construe certain things,
right.
if he should have just. And the way he uttered genocide, he didn't provide any context. He just said genocide.
But you
And
see, the thing is doing it, right? If you even look on Taliban and then I go pass him the mic to Subi because he check back in. You look on Taliban, that the song there, based on all logic and the definition, it shouldn't cross it, but it cross it. Missy Iman Burna Boy do what? One Taliban too. Burna Boy I talk about say strap and bump on him and that pass it too. So, you know, with massacre as a genocide now, you know, yeah, people might misinterpret it because I'm a Jamaican, but we know say a genocide him I say, but normally massacre say one side. So
we,
me don't
we,
know where
we
you go
know
on,
that,
sir,
but
but Subi,
Yeah,
Subi,
yeah,
bless
yo,
up
yo.
yourself, man. Yeah, man. Give thanks
Yeah,
to the
so,
check-in, you know. Where you going with?
yeah, man, yeah, come check in, man.
salute, salute, salute.
Yeah, man, big up yourself, family.
Yeah, man.
Same,
Bless up.
same.
Yeah, when you say it Taliban cross it, what you mean?
Meaning say it crossover, it on billboard and them something there, right? But we
It on
see,
the billboard, it on the billboard R&B chart.
right.
Rap
And
chart.
we
R&B
see,
Billboard R&B chart.
yes.
Me have about 5 songs by myself in
Yeah,
in
but I
Billboard
still
R&B.
crossover, still.
But listen,
Yeah.
Taliban go 100 on the
Right. Right.
billboard at 100. What happened after?
Me see it then number 8 pan the what? That's pan the billboard R&B or something like that, or
The
rap or
R&B
whatever.
chart, man. That are the R&B or the the
Right,
hip hop chart.
you're right. It then number 8, no, something
Right.
like that.
No, watch that, man. We are talking
No,
about
but
Billboard.
what on a Subi, but he's the first one of the first dancehall acts to really do it now what? Then say about 20 odd years, something like that.
18 years.
Yeah, whatever. So that's a big deal, Subi.
Right.
You
To do
wouldn't think
what? To
so?
do what? To do what?
Him being the first in about 18 years as himself, if got number 8 pandy. What is it? The Billboard R&B, whichever one this week. Him got number
Brother,
8
that's the
and
people,
it's a
man.
big deal.
Egyptian them song go thing there. Egyptian world did well on I think on the R&B chart. You have
Right.
enough
I
song come
understand.
to R&B chart. Hot work on them song they come to them chart there.
Right.
Broke it down come to them chart there.
Yeah. Then a cross.
Being the
Then
man,
then a
being the man,
crossover.
being the man. Have quite a few songs in the chart there.
Right. So the
But
definition
what
of
me I tell you,
crossover, Subi, right?
the
One
reason me I
second,
tell you
Subi.
say
The definition of crossover wouldn't be, from a Jamaican perspective, is if your music start play upon the American station and dip on the
on the
American
pop
charts.
station them, your music can play on the pop, can play on the pop station, but how it research.
Right.
That's the key part time. All your song research, all your music research. You get into the mix show start pump your music. You spend some money, get some programmer, start promote the music on from the mix show. The mix show now people start here from the mix show and they start request it. When they start request the song, now the song going to research, and based on how it come back from out of research, research mean how well is it reacting.
Right.
See? When you go in a research, we come back good out of research now, them add it in a light rotation. Them add it in a light rotation, they start get more phones. The phone a light up when it play, them start putting it on the countdown. So you see countdown 5 at 5 or 6 at 6, all of them something there, it start react. You know, more people are request it, you know. It reach number 1 from the 6 at 6. All of them make something there. So it's different stages when it comes on to a song becoming a big crash. So because you can go research and you know thing there. And it just come right back out. You see what I say?
Right.
No. When we tell about Taliban, me tell you say it now go get past certain areas or certain zone or certain audience. Why? Because the same reason why the man just talk about with them names of artists give themselves. It's when I say them epithet the artists give themselves and killer this and genocide and Taliban and them song the white American now buy that put in them house, brother.
Right.
And them children them children them subscribe to that.
No,
that play on the pop station them in
yeah.
a predominantly Christian states. You're not gonna hear that on the radio. People are gonna call and think that. So when Burna Boy do the song,
yeah.
me tell you say it not gonna work. We don't hear it again. It not gonna work. And Burna Boy.
Well, I mean, it still gets some rotation, man.
The rotation, brother, we're talking about Burna Boy go on a popular song where everybody like the song and all them thing about.
No, man, I understand. It's not named like yeah, and you know
the name wrong, brother. The name wrong. The nah give no blight.
Right.
Yeah, the song wrong, bro.
Agree with that. We totally agree with that. It's not go big like, you know.
Them not let that true.
Right.
Remember saying you have to go perform on Jimmy Iovine and Jimmy. When brother name man Jimmy Iovine, when the brother name Jimmy Kimmel, man.
Right.
Remember saying so you get the song for go number 1, you know.
True.
You have to go perform on Jimmy Kimmel. You have to go over there, go perform on the next man, the talk show.
True.
You have to go over BT, go perform on BT. And them thing that you have to go do the radio show them. They're not gonna put you on those things, bro. Who you think of a broadcast? We bring on stage. We bring on stage. Massacre, genocide, we bring on stage. Let me talk about Taliban. Byron Messiah with Taliban. No, sir. You not get that from no platform where you need certain platforms to go pop, bro.
So
you need certain platforms to go pop.
Let me ask you a question, right? Why you think Tyrant don't cross over and Massacre sign to a big label?
Them song they can't cross over, brother. Those song can't cross over, bro. No song can cross over from Jamaica without a hook. No song.
Right.
No song cannot cross over out of Jamaica without a hook. A rap song, where them understand the language, them understand the dialect. There is no Jamaican artist can put forward a song in a straight patois and a crossover.
Right.
Hence the reason why the new generation don't know people like Professor Nuts. Song them. I don't know people like Professor Papa San Wolpa lyrics when he used to drop. Papa San was the biggest lyricist. None of them youth of another generation know that. And Papa San couldn't get crossover songs at radio until him slow it down.
Right.
You know what I say? Slow it down and say, I will survive. Then him start hit.
And then remember him and Lady G too, that big song there. Papa San say you are this, Lady G say you are this. Man, you destroy the release. That was a big song,
base market.
Yeah, I get you.
But talking about Massacre them a base market artist, man. If Massacre go hit, Massacre have to go get a little singer to sing the hook on the song and then DJ.
And you know what's funny too? That even in hip hop, right? Mobb Deep, right?
Right.
Mobb Deep was well loved in New York, but they could never cross over.
Never.
Never cross over. Same kind of way, proper lyricist and tough guy thing
Yeah,
and
man.
whatever.
But that would be the same too with Eve Rakim too. Not true.
That well, it's different because hip hop wasn't necessarily commercial when Rakim was on
Right.
top, right? You could say the same thing for the Locks, right?
Right.
It's always, even the hip hop, them may struggle, but them may get away with it. Like Liquor Wayne and a lot of songs with us, what about lyrics, and when the next one name the one of them rate, you know. Like to me, me think say that youth where everybody rate is overrated when it comes down to it. He's a good rapper, but he's very overrated. In 10 years, I can't remember his name. I can't remember him song them.
21
No,
Savage,
man.
NBA young boy. NBA young boy.
Man, before that, man, they put Kendrick Lamar, man.
But no, sir, him talk, you know.
I think it's so overrated. Me no know one of the man song them, brother.
Well, me feel say him overrated now, but you see you'd have him and J. Cole. Him and J. Cole did in a little league and then they put in Bryson Tiller. And then Bryson Tiller, I know go on with him after, but you see with Kendrick Lamar still him kind of solidify himself in a way still. And him kind of structure and thing like
brother,
J. Cole.
He's a lyricist, brother.
Yeah, I struggle to keep up with him. See?
Me no know none of him song them. And me no listen song for lyrics. Me listen song for hit.
I think him do a song with Erica Badu or whomever. Some song him do, but beyond that, I don't know music either.
Me no know none of him music, brother.
I agree with you.
I know song him up, man. Big song him up too, man. Big song.
Which big song?
Yeah, I mean,
Tell me, which big song? Which one?
His albums did well.
Because me think him have a good fan base. Me think him have a good buying fan base.
Yo, the man have one song where that they run the NBA basketball team song. Remember that, man?
When him?
When him say what? Yeah. Him start off like that, man. You try remember the song, man. Yeah, man. Kendrick Lamar, man. Yes, man.
Remember the song.
Yeah, man. Me soon tell you, man. But yeah, man, it was actually a theme song in the basketball, in the NBA. I think last year. Or the year before. Yeah, man. But the thing about Kendrick Lamar.
Next thing Kendrick Lamar song?
But the thing about Kendrick Lamar, though, him have a fan base.
Yeah, we're supporting music. We're supporting music.
Yeah, just like J. Cole, where then the flashy and flamboyant like the NBA young boy, them and them little boy there, and the little dirt, them and them youth there. But them have a fan base who love their music.
So Kendrick Lamar scene and J. Cole, right? They responded to the mumble rap, right? And they got critical acclaim because they were more conscious, if you want to call it that. And that's why that's their claim to fame, right? And like you said, J. Cole is not necessarily a decadent youth, college youth. I think he went to Duke, right? So it's like he wasn't as decadent and was a lot more palatable within reason, especially when compared to the mumble rappers. And Kendrick Lamar came from the West Coast and he brought the West Coast back because they haven't had a West Coast artist of that level caliber in a long time. But
so let me tell you something, rate Mos Def more than Kendrick Lamar.
I mean, of course. No doubt. No doubt. You know what I mean?
And Mos Def was a lyricist too, but we could understand in poetry. You see what I'm saying?
Poetry, man. Poetry. And guess what? We as Jamaican people, Mos Def rapping away and he infused the Gregory Isaacs and different type of things. And
right.
You know what I mean? So when
what he did, he put some things in the song, like some hooky things.
Yeah, man. Saying on the last album, I can't remember the last album he did, like when he did Atlanta 2005. That was a
so me want to say, oh, him so underrated and Kendrick Lamar so rated.
So you see, Mos Def with Black Star and the thing with Mos Def at that time, you know what I mean? It's just like Dead Prez, right? Mainstream media never want that kind of consciousness.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with Rakim too. And when they call them Method Man and Redman, them and the two man.
Yeah, you're right. They were singing too much black issues.
Yes, man. I hear them and Talib Kweli them. Remember too, man. When they call them man, Public Enemy #1 with Professor Griff them and them too, man.
Clint Eastwood them.
What version from Def Jam name, the Jewish version, what name? For lack of a better word, so I call Jewish Lore or whatever more name.
Lear Cohen.
Lear Cohen, right? I saw a video with him today, and the man say, "Watch out."
Yeah, me see it too.
You see it when I say why them shift, because black people didn't want to focus on their depressed reality, so we wanted to give them something that would
Yeah,
take
man.
them away from their reality and so forth, and that's why we went the route that we read. That was a very interesting thing.
You mean the one him do on the Breakfast Club?
I think it probably was Breakfast Club, but it's the next version of show a clip of it.
You know, let's see
When
an
he was
interview there. I think him say him now have a problem putting out songs where rappers have to all of the things them, the violent content them, when them using on the music. They say, can say, yo, it's making money.
Oh, I never see that part. The part of me see is when he was explaining why he was talking about the first rappers wearing sequins and so forth, right?
Right.
And then him explaining what they were doing, Run DMC, as far as how they were dressing, and the whole objective behind that was to distract the people and from their reality, versus people talking about the reality to further make them depressed. So his idea was Def Jam's move was to move them away from that thinking and focus on
It wasn't Def
aspirational
Jam.
stuff.
It wasn't Def Jam. It was a Jewish brother too, but it wasn't Def Jam. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, no, the
person.
Virgin Attack is he was with Def Jam.
Right.
Okay.
The Lear Cohen around.
Yeah.
I will have to look it
was
up. So maybe it's him same one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, tall, skinny brother, dark hair.
Yeah, man. Something there, man. I am same one, man. I am same one with man. Him and Jay-Z,
Yeah, man.
man.
Yeah, same.
Him
I him,
same
man.
Yeah.
Cohen,
Him me attack with
Yeah.
Jay-Z then.
Right.
Yeah, man. I am, man.
He's actually now the head of YouTube music, you know. I am
Oh, for
control
real?
YouTube music. Him control
Okay.
YouTube, you know. Him at the head.
Yo.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Him
Oh.
at
Him
the
at the
CEO or I'm at the
Huh?
him own it?
No, man. No, I'm not say him own it.
Oh.
I'm not say him own it because I think Google own YouTube. Google own YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? You get me? I say, but he is the head of music or whatever. Him at the head. Him a run the whole of the music thing on YouTube.
Yeah, man.
He's a
So
Jewish guy.
yeah, man. It's a
Lear
Jewish
Cohen,
guy.
brother. Yeah,
Lear
man.
Cohen.
Yeah, man.
Lear Cohen.
Remember when him talk about he said just a business.
Yeah, that me attack, bro. That me attack.
And
But to
but that's
me,
for go ahead.
The last real good rap album to me was the Game documentary.
The one that Jonah read upon?
Nah, that are the one that Juna read upon are the next one. The one before that. The first one with Dr. Dre do. The documentary.
Oh.
The one about 50 Cent and stuff. Apart from this, no more real rap music in general. Right next to the music show.
You rate Kendrick Lamar like that, bro?
No, sir. Never did. Me not see him.
Me can't feel the music now, brother.
No, sir.
Me more prefer J. Cole still.
Fuck.
Me
Yeah,
too.
me prefer J. Cole too.
Me too.
By miles.
Yeah.
Me think say them give J. Cole him dues.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, me feel say he's so underrated. J. Cole is so underrated.
He's a humble youth. Him not really push, and that's
The man,
probably a part
I
of it.
do an interview and anything, so I'm not really mix with
Yeah.
in the mix with the system, you know.
But Subi, based on the question there, right now, thumbnail. Which part where you think dancehall is right now? You think the dancehall is at a stage of regression or stagnation, or you think the dancehall is evolving and moving forward where the future bright for dancehall? What you think?
Dancehall already run its course. Dancehall is like R&B music right now. No, maybe somebody can come forward and put forward a good tune.
Right.
Like without Silk Sonic with Bruno Mars come and give a nice R&B album. But then people them back to business as normal, as usual. Back to the trap,
Right.
back to the
Because
drill.
in my opinion, right, looking at the younger generation too, because if we look from 2010 forward down, right, and say, all right, who make it big outside? We can say Popcorn or Alkaline. Them man there, within the last 10 years, Popcorn or Alkaline.
But big relative to the bass though, right?
Yeah, BS we attack, that's
Okay.
yeah, BS we attack. Right, so what's this now? Recently now, Massacre did get in at the conversation. You get what me I say? Now, in a 2023, remember say, Massacre, Popcorn and Alkaline, them man that is still like in a 2015, 2014 come straight down, you know. So when me I say, right now in a 2023, me no see, well, with Valiant not have no song where crossover. You get what me I say? Them the song there, now go crossover because the topic them is all about the scamming and whatever. Them topics they can't cross over.
Want to give
Because
up on Marot yet still though.
eh?
I want to give up on Marot yet still. Me not trust the rhythm.
Me not see mad out across. Me don't see it
Want to give
across.
up on it. Me not trust the
I think
rhythm.
are the issue. I think the rhythm are the issue in a dancehall. Me don't think the rhythm them not musical. Like it's like how the African, like how the Afrobeat them well musical.
Yeah, well
like,
musical.
you understand? It's like
Right.
they're playing live instrument and the sounds are familiar. But these new music we are playing on the general, like what soldier say, and they had music, rude boy.
So Vegas, would you agree with me that one of the big issues for dancehall too was when the quote-unquote king of dancehall wasn't able to travel, right? And dancehall was reduced to only be Vibes Cartel. Him not being able to go out there and be an ambassador to the extent that all of the money before him would have. And then subsequently Popcorn came the same kind of way, crippled, couldn't travel for the most part.
What was the reason with Cartel though why he couldn't travel?
But that no matter though.
No,
right?
no, I don't.
Arrested in Brooklyn with a gun.
Okay,
Arrested in Brooklyn with a gun.
Yeah.
Eh?
But
Get arrested in Brooklyn with a gun and jump the case.
All right.
have
So
some
cause
beer.
an effect that Lally Bella, not true.
Yeah.
Right. Cause an effect that, so I mean,
Yeah.
with Popcorn situation now, apart from the little wranglings when him and the government did inner still, you get what me I say? People will say, boy, just like even me hear Hannibal did I say, Popcorn forget the visa, the work permit, but remember say work permit, brother, is actually a privilege, not a right, You understand me I say?
I don't really understand what you say. I don't really understand what you
visa,
mean privilege still enough because
what you mean?
like-
the people them
it's
not
like-
obligated to give nothing.
it's like
It's
Them
a
no
privilege,
way no
man.
obligation. That me mean.
Hear this now. You need to survive. You need to live. And because you need to live, they have to give you a work permit. Like just
No,
hold
man.
on,
No.
hold on,
You can't say that.
Hannibal, hold on. So you are saying if somebody that Jamaica and need to live and need to survive, the United States have an obligation to give
No.
them.
I'm not saying that.
Then what's your
hear this.
argument?
All
Then?
right. Well, I know. I'm wagering it against. Because when you're in this state, when a person illegal in this state, yeah, and them will get them papers. The first them get is a work permit. And them give them a work permit because them know that person need to live. That person need to live. That person need to work and invest in the system. So then give them a work permit.
But that's a different context,
No,
though.
yeah, different. That is
Yeah,
someone
a different thing, that brother.
Yeah, I just a status, brother. That's
It's a
different
privilege. It's a
conversation.
privilege to get a work permit to go work
Right,
in
or a
any.
visa.
Privilege.
Yeah, man.
Privilege.
Or a
Just like
visa.
Imhotep, sir. Yeah, man.
Right.
Privilege. And there's so many people who want one of those visas and work permit, right? That you've got to be in a certain state, certain status.
Right.
Your image has to be stellar.
Turpitude.
As you say, moral turpitude, see? Yeah. So that's the problem. But you know what interesting when Vegas mentioned even the artists and where I pick certain names and so forth. And me I try to figure out, beyond the fact that there's a degree of insularity in a Jamaica scene, but there's so many artists who come on the scene with those names, and I am trying to figure out, isn't there anyone out there saying, my youth, that name they're not gonna really work? It's like me trying to figure if them youth here was ever thinking at any point that, I'm gonna be an artist, more of a boss, big, especially the intelligent ones, them, right? The so-called educated intelligent ones. Then the process at some point in time say, that name are not gonna really work overseas.
No, well, me feel say Lalibela. Me feel say most Jamaican artists, the first focus is the local market. You understand me? I say so. That's why you see a man just grab a name because him say, alright, the people are gonna like it. In there nothing but no crossover and no overseas market first and foremost. So him forward with the name and him say, alright, that him are gonna work with. But the problem I have now is that the content and topics in a dancehall, it's all about scamming. It's all about, a man have him holding a girl throat. It's all about guzu, right? And it's all about man talk about spaceship, Man talk about say them are alien. Those are the topics.
In the music of Jamaica now?
Eh?
They're talking about spaceship and stuff now?
Yes, man. Then call them vehicle spaceship, Yeah, man. Them vehicle are
Oh.
the beast. Are the beast.
Imhotep.
Spaceship
And
are beast.
I totally agree with you, Imhotep. I totally agree with you saying. And let me say this, yeah. It's a different culture, rude boy. And just like what Mr. Vega said, if there's no hook, it not make it because guess what, my general? What the young Americans, the urban Americans who are into music, the things what their rappers are saying, it's not the same thing the Jamaican people are saying. They cannot relate. But when it comes to a hook, where a person can sing a hook because the hook, then they eventually learn the lyrics of the song. But without a hook, it not go nowhere. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Right.
And next thing again, now the beat is not there like back in the days when you know say yo, a wicked bass and drum and bass a man can move to. That yo appear nigga like yo, that shit it's annoying, B.
Yeah, that's true.
Me personally, I have no use to trap dancer, and that's just me as an individual. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The youth them a do them thing. As I say, me that's not my cup of tea, but them a do them thing and it a work for them when it comes down to the local market. Them a do them little shows. Them will get them little shows in the Caribbean, and then can charge them 30 grand and 40 grand too. So it a work for them. But what's
here's my problem with trap music, right?
Yeah.
Trap dancehall, see? When trap dancehall evolved to where it will make sense in a foreign market, you will not be able to distinguish it enough from Afrobeat and other genre. What do you will say? Nobody nothing know that you from Brooklyn?
Yeah, man.
Cranium. He was saying that because he said his manager is from Ghana, you know.
Right.
See? And he was saying that so many people that he came across, once them hear a certain accent, them figure say a dancehall, see? And he said there are so many people that he had to educate on what is dancehall and what is Afrobeat because people couldn't distinguish it all. See? And my thinking is that doesn't bode well for us if dancehall and Afrobeat is conflated in a certain sense like that.
So you see, so this is what the Afrobeat are doing, right? Afrobeat music take off from the 90s Jamaican music. And that is why it stands out like that, because you find say it have similar sounds to what we used to listen to in the 90s. However, when I was a kid, I remember like the music when me like my grandfather never liked it. So it's the same thing now with the music where the young youth them I don't know where weena and grass. So me see that. The new Sham LP and Sham and Bounty Killer LP. At first when I hear the album, he must tell me to release, I'm gonna listen to it. Never really like it.
Right.
Now when we listen to them, me kinda dig it. Like when we hear them perform them like all on the radio station, made them a DJ, then me kinda like it. But to listen to the song, to listen to it, I don't think me ever really listen to it still more than me listen to it just to hear what them say. Still.
Right, and the thing is, Hannibal, you see, when it comes down to Afrobeats, Afrobeats more do whole heap of little happy songs and you might not understand about a little happy song. You see dancehall, you see trap dancehall, it's always about the chopping and then chip glock. We talk about topics, the chopping, the scamming, the him hacky bank and his skull, hot skull, and the beast. Him have the alien brain. The girl has the cocky. That's the only topics where the man them have these days. So you don't have no happy music I go out there again. So you realize the dancer and do happy music again.
You know when I hear upon Rick Starman or talk about the artists, them I could have never participate in them because me personally, me don't think there's nothing we can learn from them new artists. I know. Them no draw more and listen to them. Even if me da hear something, even Valiant. I one song me hear from Valiant where me hear it on the pliers and the pliers bam rhythm when I do say rich and me not talk and that draw me to it. And from me listen to that one song there, no one really song not really grab me still. That's the reality.
The problem is though, them song there, when you look on the younger generation them, the Valiant them, the Craft, the Skeng them, the Malidan them, Pablo YG, Najiri, Roger Wild, you have Tapman, you have one year Skipper, Macdan, them look at you there. Me no see right now with the lyrical content where them are put out there, me no see it a crossover. them lyrical content, them me not see it a crossover at all, at all, at all. It's gonna be very difficult for them lyrical content the crossover. That's the problem you see with dancehall right now, you know. The topics and the lyrical content, it's just like that can't cross over because everything when them a talk about is scamming and chopping and gala something cocky and them sitting there with chop and drill, hip hop a deal with already. So that's not new to the American audience. What is new that you put in to the American audience for your song crossover? That's the way the man them have to consider to when them a do the music.
Brother, you see me, I don't know no alkaline music
Worse.
because he never made any sense to me. I hear
Him,
people say he's the smartest man in the world and he's this.
no, he's
I
very
should.
smart. I have to give him
So,
that. The way how him
right,
coming at the industry,
but guess what, no?
the way I'm breaking at the industry, I have to give him that.
Right.
But guess what?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to bend my ears though to hear what artists are saying. I shouldn't have to do that. If I'm music, I must just hear it. Like me personally, like Taliban, see? And I do agree with what you guys are saying about the hook and so forth. But none of us, apart from mine, when the champion boy and the Olympics was going on and they were just playing it non-stop. All I know is champion boy, which is the hook, right? I don't know nothing else about it. But I don't know none of
One
them
bag
songs.
of gold medal for me, champion boy, I saw the damn thing go.
I can't decipher nothing more
Lalibela,
said
but
beyond
hold
that.
on, you have to remember the Lalibela. You see that we used to a certain type of dancehall now. So remember saying when even Alkaline forward in the game, Alkaline bring a new style and new flow to the thing too, So here go on now, right? Fit him style, where him a deal with it. Our generation were used to the 90s flow and 2000 flow and them something there. When Alkaline forward and I spit it all fast and them sitting there, the younger generation, them hear it, them can sing everything word for word, brother. It's just that with our generation, when him forward out and I do him thing, right? Me, of course, me me like whole heap of him songs them. Me like Champion Boy, me like Key for the City. Me get me a whole heap of song with Alkaline do me like. Me I say him flow, they just different and the people them who used to the 90s and 2000 flow there, it's just different. So the younger generation, they just love what him a do because people out there can sing every Alkaline song word for word. It's just that even Cartel, when Cartel a drop them song there, and him a sing them fast in the early 2000. No for we never understand it. But you have the younger generation at the time, them could understand the song them and sing them word for word. So I just a new sound me think the Alkaline bringing at the game and it
I
works.
want some know if you all Cartel in a general.
No.
First thing I do when I wake up, that's the only time I know if Cartel.
Oh, well, yeah, listen, man. Me know the amount of Cartel when me know me can't even.
And
I know Dirty Panty, and the one I mentioned before, mine for money, man. That's it, really.
But member say Cartel. But member say all 2000, this are the new millennium with my Marshall, man. Big
So
song
you're the
that
problem.
man.
So here's the problem for
Remember good,
these.
no?
Here's the problem for the contemporary dancehall. You see, the antecedent artists weren't so good, like the 90s and the one that overlap into the early 2000s. If these guys weren't so good, not necessarily them lyrics also, but the quality of products. See, the quality of product was so good. Rhythm, lyrics, everything, packaging. It was so good. That was peak dancehall. See, if those guys weren't so good, and that I have it in my mind where I'm cognizant of what the level was then maybe when me see us so wouldn't seem so subpar. But compared to that, what I'm seeing here is subpar. It's just like talk shop, kids thing. I mean, me not diss nobody, but it's like this is why even when Cartel come out and yes, he's a lyricist and so forth. But if you've listened to dancehall music from the 80s to the 90s and so forth, some lyrics were out there. Vegas mentioned Papa San and so forth. And clearly people don't remember the lyrics. But when someone would come to me and say Cartel are the best lyricists, I mean, I agree with that because we've seen better.
Worse. Hey, I'm with you with that one.
Yeah, we've seen better. I'm not impressed. Yeah. I'm not impressed.
I'm not. And
no,
anybody who impressed like that.
Well, but remember, said that those statements, when someone say Cartel are the best lyricists, that's a subjective statement. You get me? I said that's not absolute. You get me? So people are gonna say that because of the different style and flow. Cause he bring some different style and flow in a dancehall.
General, those are not DJ General. Not no special what Cartel do, rude boy.
Hold on, man. Hold on, Hannibal. Me understand
Me
what
been
you
a
say,
say it.
and
Listen, I
that's.
been a say it.
But hold on, Hannibal. Hear me saying, man. That's your opinion, right? And it is subjective. I mean, get that. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you upon that because that's your opinion. But you have other people who will tell you, say, Cartel bring a whole heap of different flow and style in a dancehall. Whether people might want to say him copy certain style and thief this as flow or whatever, melody, whatever. That's
No
fine.
melody, rude boy.
Hold on, man. Hear me saying, man. Hear me say. Cartel, Vibes Cartel, yeah man, Vibes Cartel,
Let me ask a question,
kinda,
Imhotep.
Vibes
What
Cartel, kinda, when you see Vibes Cartel, now the business there, Vibes Cartel bring a element in a dancehall where it kinda transform the dancehall in a way
Imhotep?
to,
To
yeah,
the
Imhotep.
go to,
detriment of dancehall, though.
Yo, Imhotep.
yeah, I agree with that too because it became tribal. So,
Hello?
go to Subi.
Yeah, man, yeah,
Yeah,
so.
Virgin can answer me, answer my question. But my question is, was Cartel good or bad for dancehall?
Bad. Not good.
Bad.
Not
Well,
good.
me would answer, me would answer him good for dancehall.
What? How?
Because of him contribution to dancehall, it was beneficial to dancehall, of course.
No,
Oh,
But
oh.
dancehall decline
hold on,
underneath him, though.
No, but hold on, no,
just
man.
like
But
how
hold on, no. But dancehall
Imhotep.
one decline. You can't put it on cartel head.
No, Imhotep. Just
Why
like
not?
how
One for
you
the
say,
rest of man them.
just like how you say, it's my opinion. Just now, I'm gonna tell you something again. Is an opinion. I'm gonna tell you what Vibes Cartel do. Yeah, Vibes Cartel oversaturated the urban market in a way where nobody not hearing anything else about him. And the more you hear him, the more you hear him, it's like him in your subconscious and you start liking man that him use.
And it
Just like
worked for him,
Queenie.
right? It worked for
Eh?
him. It worked for him.
I mean, I just
In the
listen.
base market, though, the
Hold
base
on, no.
In
market,
the base
dancehall
Yeah,
didn't
but
market,
the
I
grow.
base
guess.
market where is the boat? So it worked for him,
Yeah, but
Hannibal.
like, nah,
What
me
you mean it no
personally,
work? Oh, come on, Hannibal. You are saying it no work for him, bro?
No, Hannibal,
nah,
it worked for him in
listen
the
now.
base market, see?
It work him in the
But
base market. It
but
work
as
him in
I
the
said
base
before,
market.
right?
Me
Be-
personally, in general, me personally think him can't DJ. I thought that's my thing.
All right, and Hannibal. Me understand your opinion, and me not gonna argue with you with that because me just know say your opinion. But remember, say you are gonna have 7 different mind pan the conversation. You get what me I say? So I just say
Me
Rude
think
boy,
so, me
you
listen.
think so,
you
me
feel
think
like
so.
you can DJ,
This what me think so.
and
This what me
you
think
know
so.
I just let go.
You me think so. This is my take. Me think so when Cartel come in our business, them should have, it's like a new genre was created.
Facts.
Right.
It's not say him no good, but when come with, he's very good at what he came with. Very, very good. And him created a whole movement from them time there
Right.
to now. And the movement when him create a movement where you no longer had to worry about if you can hold a note.
Hmm.
It's like remember I go studio with Danny Wood, the records with Danny Brownie, right? I never tune name Bamboo there. And Danny would say, that are with the girl them require. And I say, big bamboo tree with 2 plum seed. And him to say, and
Yeah, man.
him to say, round it a little bit of weed. See, so I write that tune there. See?
Mm.
And him I say, yo, that remember what kind of them days, he used to have song like Fudgy them and you know, you saw
Right.
some little
Right.
type of tune they were out like Mad Andrew them.
Right.
You used to have little type of
Fudgy was
tune they
with
were
Goofy, right?
yeah, so
Right.
you'd have them type of tune that would just dominate the space. Like
Right.
those were the type of those are the hit songs, you know?
Yep.
Me actually
Man, I
think
drink
say,
back juice pan base.
yeah, me actually think say if Danny would could have
Fabi
managed.
Dolly.
So when we go this, when we go record for Danny Brown, man put on the rhythm, man. Me sing the song and the man say, yo, that body. So me go in at the booth and me sing my part. Bamboo dip, no, me a Danny Wood in at the booth. So we have on the headphone them, boom, rhythm come on. Me, you know, I done you tell me say Vegas area and me if you come in now. I say Bamboo there. And if you come with the big voice, that how we dig and them a require. Yes, it's just the fact that the man couldn't well done what the song do.
Word.
Just the
That's
mere fact that the man
sometimes.
couldn't manage that note there.
Yeah.
Him
Subi.
couldn't, yeah.
May I say the same thing, Subi? It's like this, all right? It's like this, right? You see, to people who musically inclined, we understand
You
what
know,
we are saying.
understand, say, you see, dancehall music, I want unique music where the DJs them
Facts.
used to sing.
Right.
Exactly.
Shabba ranks them. That's why you see Shabba rank to come on stage now and go out of key. Because
But
the DJs them had to be singing and singing in key. Because even when because them a DJ, when them go out of key, it gets so obvious where you could have just tell. Like when I sing a little sharp or flat note, you know, really, you know, if you're not musical, you might not pick up on it. But when a DJ go out of key, because them so loud and them voice so strong, you actually hear say, yo, it no something off with the rhythm on him.
hey,
So that's
hey,
why when Shabba ranks a DJ,
yeah.
you know, and he hear the rhythm ting-a-ling-a-ling and get excited. And he was say, ting-a-ling-a-ling, school bell a ring, and him start shout. But that is how the music was so structured, and the music had certain elements we had to match up to. Where me think a cartel come now, and it's like mathematics, right? Mathematics when we used to go school before the digital era, right? We had to work out the long division. You know, we have to carry the zero there and this and that and add another zero and one bag of thing we have to go through. When you look at one whole page, a long division and a take, right? Now you go up on the internet and you go up on YouTube and it shows you some simple steps how to solve an equation. Simple step how
Right.
to solve algebra. Just some simple steps what we were not privy to back then. So it's like Carter now are the simple steps them we bypass. Me not have to go hold a note there, you know. Me can DJ yeah so beat up your face like a pun, beat up your face like a pun,
But
and the
what's
truth
this
like
now?
a box lunch.
Right,
You
right.
see?
And what's this in a Subi?
With that style,
Yeah.
there is no body where say them artists where can DJ so.
Facts.
So
Right.
hold on.
But member say no. Let me tell you quick there. Member say no, right? Member say the early cartel, not 2000, right? Cause him a Marshall did sing New Millennium. And Panda see him rhythm there. Him have a song where him say, if a the pussy jar say nah no hang on, thou
The
shall
same
not
only
leave
song
a
I know.
Kian. Run
The
where the
same
girl
one
will
song I
blow
know.
you like go on. Make him know a bad man I walk you from now. You see that you see that style there? Yeah man, cartel really bring in
It
a
was the
new
birth. It
style
was
and
the
flow
birth
than
of the
early
talking
2000.
style, brother. It was the birth of the talking style.
Right,
You know who
right.
came with that talking style first?
Yes, Farah,
No, not even yes them. The dope boy them used to do it, but the man that come with it basically and
But
start talk is Mad
man,
Andrew.
but remember Subi.
So
Right, right. But what's this in a Subi?
Farah, no come
Well,
before Mad Andrew.
well on
But
the
that
man.
is
This
dub
is
poetry
for
though.
no
But that is
artist
dub
there.
No, that is
poetry.
like dope poetry.
Yeah,
Mutan them
don't
man
poetry that
them
brother man.
long
What's this
time.
in a? But member said something there too. Remember who was it? Upon the same rhythm them man, your brethren where name archive to man. Upon the upon the rhythm them man. Where the rhythm the name again man? Where
The
you sing
filter
she's
with
a
him.
open man. And him so damn, I'm remember the rhythm. She's a woman.
Crash with him.
The crash rhythm, good. I remember say him say what? I never dream in a Jamaica. Man, I pick up gold, man. You get me? I say,
No,
yeah,
anybody with him. Pan, crash with him,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Him
No
have
man,
go
no man.
Rachel.
That was a pandy, no man. That was pandy crash. Me not talk about that one. Him say, I never dream in a Jamaica. Man, I big up gunman and raper. And above here, a green piece of paper. That was pandy crash with him, man. You get me? I say, and I talk him, I talk.
Me remember say, but there's
But
like a style where they come in and a bag of man used to start use it. And then Lexus them come and War 21 them come and War 21 them now. Suku used to have the big deep voice. And it was like again, I go round the fact say him never have a DJ in a high key.
Right.
Like if you listen to Shabba ranks them um 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 them bow. In a bow cat and top. Tell
Right.
now the bow cat them fi just back. Them fi listen to Johnny P them back there is all of the girl when I fight fi who broke. Who all up
Hold
your
up
one
here
and
and
jump
jump up, 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 up.
If you listen to Bailey them. And say, when I
True,
tell me
man.
that, mommy, so me, I got picking, say me,
I mean, I got picking
I
it.
have.
True,
When I think
man.
some done,
What think me
when I think
done?
some done, when I think some
What think me
done,
done? Me just a come. Me say, at
they
me
had
coming
to be
out. At
singing.
me coming out.
When you listen to Stitchy, Stitchy
Yeah,
say,
man.
young girl, rear your size. I sing that in, brother.
Yeah, man. That's
So,
true, man. That's true.
so
That's true.
Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
With what you're saying, you said there isn't an artist who cannot do what Cartel did as far as that style, right?
Right,
So
right.
technically speaking, you're saying that that's a low bar, a low hanging
In
fruit.
Him
general, listen
simplify,
up.
him simplify.
Okay.
That's why I say we have to be very careful because you have to give a man a birth something,
Right.
right? You have to give him that credit there.
Right.
Because him simplify dancehall music when enough youth wouldn't boss.
Right.
And I truly agree with you because that's what me see with enough of these artists. And because me
Why you
see
think?
for your generation, see? Because I saw your generation and I view it as a better quality on all tangible
Because
levels.
most of the rhythm them is building at the C key,
Right.
which are the happy key, and you had to go in there. Big things are going. You know see it. You know see
And I
give
say
up
we
big.
are the girl
You
them.
know, you know sing up
Patsy
for your
down and the
niceness
one them.
agree. Woman get mad than
That's
that.
true,
Sometimes
man.
come out of that your
Tear up
throat a hot
sheet.
you.
That's
Brother,
true.
Why
That's
you
I
true.
used
think?
to hide. I used to hide from sound man because I don't want to sing heads. I know.
Why you think
Mm.
when I see them on stage? Why you
Wow.
think when I see them on stage, them so boring?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
And there's
man.
No,
nothing
Vegas.
there.
Yeah, man. I used to have
No,
to hide. I used to have to hide
yeah.
from
Talk,
sound
talk
man,
about that.
brother.
Talk about that. Talk about that. That intrigued me
Because
now.
the key is not a comfortable key.
Mm.
Like it made the boss like a valiant them boss, right? When I go dub studio, I not left. I not go home every night with 10, 15,000 and I pack that dub studio. Me should just sing and my voice gone and me just cut. If
Mm.
I could have sing like how them man say, me talk about
100 million, nothing for we jaw down. When you looking at me
brother,
eyes, you know what's me charge
yeah, job.
up.
Me
You
could
have
have
any
It's
me
like
could
a
have
sing
some
a
if
sing
nursery rhyme
a
kind of style.
rum.
brother, it's not even nursery rhyme, it's like the comfort where them have.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Them are DJ in
100
some
million,
comfortable
nothing for
key.
we jaw down.
Either come like what would Whitney Houston say? No. Knowing that
Right.
she had to juice up or drug up to go on stage because she was so scared of not holding
Yeah.
those notes where it took a toll on her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
And so what if Whitney was here now and seeing people playing their songs and singing over the songs?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be like, you understand? She'll be like, yo, that could never happen. Like Whitney Houston, artists had to go out there. Milli Vanilli, they caught them lip singing and they banned them.
That
I
was it.
remember that. That was MTV Award '94.
Yep.
Ashley Simpson, they caught her lip
Yeah.
singing and her
Yeah.
career died.
Right.
Mm.
But
So I understand, say, when people talk about greatest dancehall artists and something, there, you cannot put Vibes Carter in the conversation about greatest dancehall artists. He's
Facts,
not in
man.
the
Thank you, sir.
conversation.
Real talk.
Thank you,
so
sir. Thank you,
so watch
sir.
this now. Watch this now because I kind of close out now. So just jump on the last argument. So my question is before we go, if Vibes Cartel is not considered one of the like who would be up there? Who would be the top five?
We have to separate Carter from dancehall
Yeah,
before we
because you
can
have to
even
separate the eras
compare.
them.
Because yes, so Carter, either come here, go come out of reggae and come in a dancehall. What should have happened? You know? Them should have created a whole different movement to Cartel. Maybe, all right, you see that movement, yeah? You see what dancehall, you know? Them should have named it after Cartel.
Exactly. That's my point because watch this, you know. A cartel start trap dancehall.
Me say whatever they do, them I listen to right
A
now.
trap, yeah. A cartel start
Yeah,
Them
we
should
can
have
the
call
early
it.
started. If you
Them
listen to
should
the
have.
old cartel
Them should
mixtape
have
them,
name. Them should have name it Cartel.
if you listen to the old cartel mixtape them, listen to the old cartel mixtape them on the hip hop rhythm them, and you will hear me talk about say cartel start
All right.
trap dancehall.
It's like where you have ska, rocksteady, reggae, dancehall. You should have something now where when they say who created it. and them say cartel.
Right.
When
Yeah.
years to come, when I say who create
But
that?
a trap dancer still a cartel. Forget credit to trap
Not no
dancer.
name, brother. Not no name trap dancer, brother.
The
Is either
trap-
trap or dancer. We
Yeah,
can't.
trap.
You
The
see,
trap. The trap sound when
we
they
are
bring in a
mess up.
dancer. Make we say that.
We are mess up dancehall. It's like the elements we make up dancehall is not normal. All right, if you think a line, me I tell. Listen to Cartel do Benz Punani.
Right.
Listen
Dancehall.
to Cartel do Mama, Baby Way
Right.
Mama,
Right.
right? I think him
Give
sing
me the
back one
Benz
more
Penani,
too.
make me go and
Him
drive
sing,
it
him
out.
sing, him sing, him sing, him sing. Come rush me now. Touch a button now.
Right.
That one you name Biggie, right? Biggie name Papa Beat your brother.
Give me the Benz
If you go
Punani,
and
make me
listen,
go and
if
drive
you
it out.
go and
All
listen those
taxi cab
three
just go and go
songs,
cool out.
go and listen those 3 songs the Cartel do, right? And listen to the original artist them version. Trust me, you will understand how dancehall music had certain elements. Where when you go in the boot there, the studio have to lift up, the producer have to feel it, the man in the studio, all the engineer have to feel it to mix it. The man who take your voice, all the 24 track where the pan is sitting come like it to feel it. Let's go listen to Grindsman, man.
Real talk.
When Grindsman sing that in a brethren, when Grindsman sing Ben Spooner and a brethren, yo, just the way give me the make me go and drive it out. And I'm still Cambridge going boom boom. It just authentic and just feel. You see? And if you check how Cartel delivery compared to Grindsman delivery, brother. Come
And
on,
that
B.
is my problem. That is my
Hey,
problem.
So
Suli,
when I
Suli.
explain to you, say, I'm not sure if Cartel in the heart of the dancehall era could compete with being them.
Never.
Nope. But
Never.
remember, you
When
know, Vegas, remember, you know, he was there trying in at the tail end of
because
the 90s, you know.
being them were singing, and what happened is, you know, the producers them they changed the sound of dancehall to accommodate Cartel talking style.
Isn't Cartel older than you, Vegas?
No, sir.
I'm
Nah,
not
man.
sure.
No, no, sir.
Cartel a big man, you know. And I
Subi
know
wall
much
and
try, you know.
cartel, man. Subi wall and
We got
cartel.
a line. But what
Yeah,
may I
man.
say is they had to change the sound. First thing, the music, the rhythm them stop build back in the C key. And once you stop the music in a happy key, them, you're not gonna get back the same essence of everyone falls in love. Sometimes you're not get back them essence. Now you're gonna end up with a talking style and dark music. And that's I think.
So is there any way to revert back to Siki?
No, because we don't have the youth now, we can manage them. The youth them where the youth them know where are the music. Them not interested in sounding like singers. They're not interested in that. Give me the girl, let me the wicked Islam. The kind of girl learn up to love up she man.
No,
And
sir.
if you want to get, you know, you think enough man here, you're a DJ right now, can't go. And if you want, then can't go there. Trust me. Being the man, listen to the man, being the man, I'm God boy, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
Suli.
man.
I'm glad that you are explaining to me, you know, because me, if I me attack or you attack, everybody that oppose it. Here I go, I'm a general.
No say that, brother.
Hold
No
on,
say
no.
that.
Most of them,
Why make a
hear me
think
now.
so?
Most of them musically deaf, them tone deaf, my
Brother,
general. Most of them
yeah,
tone deaf.
let me tell you the youth them about art. Remember, say me see man going to studio, you know. I have the song sound good enough, but them not. Remember say, you know, back in them days, you know, when rhythm put on, you know, brother. Art. Why you think man like Archive them never bust a main street? Why you think Mad Andrew never bust a main street? Kuno bust. Them talking style never sound good for the rhythm them.
Right. Father, forgive me not complain. But
Never sound
sometimes
good
the
for the rhythm
system
them.
stress into my brain. When things get tough
But
and
you see,
times get harder, sometimes me
you
have
see,
to
you
ask,
see, you
what
see,
is father?
you see when him do that song there?
Yeah. But that was a big song still, you know, in a way. Locally. We are talking locally still, you know.
So the consensus is that the genre is shrinking.
Yeah, man, the genre
All right.
definitely need help, man. It need
Let me
help,
say this. Let me say
but
this, yeah?
yeah, just so we ask a quick Hannibal because I
Let me
close
say this.
out
All
now.
right. So how the man they make rhythm back in the days where a keyboard player come in, a guitar player come in, and a drum player come in, and them composer them everybody master them craft and them put a thing together. Them thing they now make no more in general. Now I just a little youth sit down now and play with them computer and put some sound together. Then not to play instrument.
Right. I agree with you. And enough of the man that just go on YouTube. Enough of the man that go on YouTube to Hannibal, then go on YouTube and just buy some rhythm and that's it.
Exactly.
The jammings them and the Steely and Cleavy them and the what when they call them the Maddos, Dave Kelly them and them and the Tony
there's
Kelly
no
them.
creativity.
Yeah,
There's
right.
no creativity
Different than now still,
no more in the construction of music in general. I think
And then the quality control is gone and everything at all.
Right. Because the spear, the topics them are just the same thing everybody are singing about still. But anyway, still. Now I close this out. You don't know you got enough respect for the reasoning. You get what
I
me
never
I
want
say?
it. I never lie. I never want it done still, but me understand still.
Yeah, man, you don't know it go still, man. You know, close out and now, man.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
A 4 hour we're gone now. 4 hour we almost
Boy, I tell them we can do 2 more, but it's cool. Me
man, but you
understand
don't know
still.
it go, man. And next day they about, you know. So what's this
Yeah.
Bella? The next
Give
reason
thanks.
we definitely gonna reason about France in Africa and couple
Yeah,
of
man,
times, you
definitely.
know?
Yeah, what the
Man,
virgin want
definitely
with
got a
us.
reason for that still. You see it? So enough
Yeah,
respect in
yeah,
Hannibal, enough respect
Yeah, man,
Bella.
bless
Big
up,
up
my
on
brother.
yourself,
Bless
you
up,
know.
Give thanks, see?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. Enough respect to the chat. Give thanks. Please remember, just hit the like button on your way out. And if you appreciate the content, yeah, man, please just subscribe. Hit the notification bell. So anytime we touch out on the road, man, and I want a little reasoning, yeah, the ones and ones them can engage tonight. Enough respect to Rayan, Nicky Willie, Rowan Noble, Mahatru, enough respect, Hannibal, Oral Donaldson, Lali Bella, respect. Truth Earth, respect. Kevin Barker, enough respect. And everyone who was here before, Island Spice, Lady J, big up on yourself, man. Everybody that was here, man. You get what me I say? And for the ones that are listening on the play forward, yeah, man, enough respect as always. Remember to like and share and subscribe. Bless up on yourself, and you don't know it go. Yeah, man. Soon again, shortly.